Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Kyuubi tries to escape and something goes wrong, in which Naruto is turned into a Hanyou. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. The clear and peaceful night crawled over Konohagakure no Sado. A few rooms filled with a light snores accompanied by diminishing pitter-patter as the owner of the orphanage heads in for the night. The owner goes by the name of Naoi, a mid-30s old lady, kind and caring, unless it comes to that thing Kyuubi which she is forced to care and look after. The Kyuubi child, being kept in a separate room in the hopes to keep the other children clean and untainted, happily sleeps while inside her Kyuubi continuously tries to break the seal he is trapped in. Damn you Yondaime and this cursed seal. Why will this blasted seal not break? Roared the Kyuubi, his voice deep in sound and full of malice, while bashing his cage and feeding chakra through the gaps in the hopes to either break the cage or control his container's mind. Though the chakra is having a different effect than what it was intended for. It has been a year since I've been trapped in this cursed cage, and yet after all this time nothing has changed. Over the course of a year the Kyuubi had been feeding chakra to his container. Unknown to the Kyuubi, his container's body has yet to fully adapt to the harmful chakra and has been slowly killing and damaging the child beyond repair. The one strong heartbeat now weak, soft and slow beat weakening with each beat. The already dim cage starts to darken with each pulse that courses through the child. Now what? The Kyuubi questioned the darkening room. Hearing the thumping getting softer. Don't tell me this brat is already meeting its end. The Kyuubi said wide-eyed. Kyuubi realizes that the chakra he had been feeding has been slowing killing due to the child's body not being fully adapted to the harmful properties of a demon's chakra has on a human. Heh, damn weakling meatbag. Exclaimed the Kyuubi. I can't have you dying yet, not while I hold the same fate should you die. Looks like this is only one thing left to do that will save you, hope you enjoy the additional perks, he said with a sigh, while quickly preparing what needs to be done in order to survive. Red chakra starts to slowly erupt of the child's stomach, crawling and completely covering the small child. Few minutes later the Sandaime Hokage with 4 additional Ansatsu Senjutsu Takushu Butai, Anbu, come rushing in after having felt Kyuubi's chakra. Hokage-sama, what's happening? Asked Inu while eyeing the child with caution. Not sure, but it looks like the seal is weakening and the Kyuubi is trying to escape, replied the Hokage. What show old we do, sir? Do we kill it now while we still have the CC chance? One of the Anbu ninjas stuttered in fear. I'd advise you do nothing but remove this child to a safer location where no one can be harmed. Do not fear, this kid is dying and I'm saving this kid, though it comes at a price. This kid will no longer be human. This process will turn her into a Hanyou, said the Kyuubi through the child in a deep, prideful and powerful voice. Kyuubi? Why is she dying and how are you able to speak through her? Asked the Hokage in a cold, cautious voice. She is dying due to her body not adapting fast enough to my chakra. I am able to speak to you due to the weakening of the seal. The seal is weakening because she is dying, said Kyuubi to the unasked question as to why the seal is weakening. I would hasten the replacement of this kid's location, though nothing should happen, it's just a precaution as to what might happen, said the Kyuubi. Unknown location. This is a safe enough location. I want 3 guards here on duty until this settles down and Kyuubi finishes healing Naruto, the Hokage said with authority, followed by nods from the 4 Anbu ninjas. Kyuubi, what happens to you and the seal after this and how long will it go on for? Asked the Hokage with caution and curiousness. If you worried about me escaping, you need not worry, as the seal is no longer weakening. As to what happens to me, I will go into a deep slumber for about 4 to 5 years, as this will tire me out and it's near my normal sleeping period. Earlier you said that this will turn Naruto into a Hanyou, care to elaborate on this? As I am a Kitsune demon, she will change into a Kitsune Hanyou. She will gain fox ears and a tail, which will increase in number as she ages and increases her power up to a maximum of 9. She will also gain highly increased sight, hearing, smell, strength and chakra capacity. Her natural healing abilities will also be greatly increased on top of the healing she would normally receive from me. Alright, I shall leave this to you then, the Hokage said in a calm tone while turning and heading for the exit. The council will have to be notified of this, though I don't see this going well. At least the ninja side will be more understanding than the civilian side. Danzu will be a pain, I bet my position that he will try to do something for his own benefit here, he thought with a sigh towards the end. 30 hours later. How much longer do we have to be here for? Asked a tired and irritated Anbu. It has been 30 hours, it should be almost time, though our shift might not end just yet, so suck it up and do as ordered, replied Inu in a cold, emotionless voice. Ease up, Inu, no need to be harsh, though you are correct about your shift not ending just yet, the Hokage said while entering the cave. Report, demanded the Hokage. Hi, the child has remained unchanged until about 10 hours ago when she became as she is now, Inu reported while looking over to the child who was completely encased in red chakra, unable to see through it. Where it was once completely covered the child in a transparent hue, now completely non-see-through with mixes of black and red dancing around the child as if it was a flame. A blinding flash filled the room, startling everyone in the room. As quickly as it appeared, it vanished. The Hokage, reacting fast enough, was able to close his eyes, preventing from it blinding him, though the Anbu were not as lucky as they took the full flash, completely blinding them for several moments. The Hokage slowly opens his eyes, determining if it's safe to continue. Seeing that it's safe, he fully opens his eyes and sees that the child is no longer covered in chakra. Slowing approaching the child and picking it up to hold in his arms, he sees that the child is wearing her birthday suit and is wide awake. The first thing he notices, her eyes are still crystal blue in color, but instead of a one circular pupil, it's now a vertical slit. It looks exactly like a fox's eye, along with her having gold blonde fur-covered fox ears on the top of her head with white tips. Her hair is now a more gold blonde compared to a yellow blonde that it used to be. She also now has a single gold blonde tail with a white tip protruding from her rear, where her spine would normally end. Her nails on her feet and hands are slightly longer and more triangular in shape, making them look like claws rather than normal human nails. The Hokage honestly thought she looks very cute as she happily looks at him while playing with his beard and wrapping her tail around his arm. Let us return you back to the orphanage. Inu, I want you and 2 other Anbu that you trust to watch over this child for the next few years. Only one of you is needed for a rotating week shift so you can rest and still complete other missions you get assigned. Leave now and find the 2 you trust and come report to me immediately after you find them in my office, ordered the Hokage. In a swirl of leaves and dust, Inu disappeared. The rest of you may take a week's break. You're dismissed, said the Hokage. With an acknowledgement, the Anbu vanished, leaving their Hokage alone to his thoughts. 4 years later, Naruto is now 5 years old. She is about 40 inches tall, a few inches smaller than other kids her age due to a lack of proper nutrition. She is wearing a white plain short sleeve shirt, which is several sizes too big and is covered in stains and dirt marks. To complete her outfit, she is wearing a dark orange long baggy pants, with the left side reaches down to her ankles and the right side reaches up to her mid-thigh, and is barefoot. Her hair is tied in a 2-pigtail style which reaches to the middle of her shoulder blades, with a red bow tie ribbon on each pigtail to hide her fox ears. Her face is a slim heart-shaped face with 3 whisker-like birthmarks on each cheek. She now has 2 tails which are wrapped around her waist underneath her shirt, just like her ears. She hides them, as the villagers always comment on them when they see them or her. It's pouring down with heavy large drops, with a few people here and there quickly running to get out of the rain. With her head held low, Naruto slowly walked down the road drenched, making her way to her new apartment, which she just got from her grandfather figure, the Sandaime Hokage, while thinking over the past recent events. It's been 6 months since I've been kicked out, that nightmare of a whole orphanage. At least I get to live in a place of my own, thought Naruto. Opening the door to her new apartment, though the apartment itself was fairly old but still in good shape. Yay, this is much better than living out in Forester streets, she said happily with a sigh. Plopping onto her bed face down and hugging the pillow, her thoughts wander as to why she is so hated, ignored and different from the rest of villagers. Why does everyone hate me or completely ignore me like I don't exist? All I wanted was to buy that fox mask. He didn't have to go and shove me like that, then throw the thing at me, she thought sadly. Flashback. Hey mister, how much is this mask? Naruto happily asks to the shopkeeper. Oh, it's just you, go on, get out of my shop, you vermin. Go on, get, shouted the shopkeeper while shoving her out the door. You want this? Here, take it and piss off. He growled while throwing it at her. Hey, what was that for? Shouted Naruto with tears brimming her eyes. The shopkeeper replies with slamming his door closed. Flashback end. And why am I so different from everyone else? I'm the only one with ears on top of my head, and not to mention the tails I have. The only other people I've seen with tails are dogs and cats. No human has one, Naruto sadly thought while holding her 2 tails and on the verge of crying, with a few tears running down her face, making a few wet spots on her pillow. While sleep slows takes hold of Naruto, soft whimpers can be heard as she cries herself to sleep. Unknown location. Naruto wakes up and immediately notices her surroundings are not the same as they were when she fell asleep. She finds herself in a narrow corridor, high gold walls and roof covered with pipes running the length of the wall on both sides. Slowly standing, she notices that the floor is flooded with water which reaches her ankles. The long sound she hears is a heavy breath breathing in and out, followed by the occasional sound of water dripping and hitting the water below. Slowly and quietly walk down the corridor, following the sounds of what sounds like something breathing with a soft growl every few breaths. After walking for about a minute, Naruto comes into a giant room with a large double gold cage gate. Beyond the cage gate is a void of darkness. On the cage door about halfway up where the 2 gates meets is a piece of paper. On the paper is the kanji for sealed. Slowly walking to the cage, Naruto says softly, "Hello, anyone here?" No reply. "Hello," she says loudly. Out of nowhere behind the gate, 2 huge red fox-like eyes open and stare down at her. The eyes rise higher and higher, still staring down at her while slowing becoming bigger as they close the distance to gate. Out of the shadows a giant red fox the size of the Hokage monument emerges. Naruto gasps backing away from the cage as the fox nears the gate. Where am I, what is this place? Fanatically asking and stuttering from fear. So many questions, not even a hello or a giant fox run away, how boring. Oh well, take what you can get, snorted the Kyuubi in its deep voice. Well, sorry for being confused as hell and not know what the hell is going on. Naruto shouted with annoyance. Ahahaha, the Kyuubi roared with laughter, you got gut speaking to me like that. Do you even know who I am? Kyuubi asked. Did you not hear my question earlier? So I'll say once again, who are you? I don't recall seeing foxes in a weird place like this, let alone a huge giant talking fox, Naruto deadpanned. HMMPH. Who am I? Why, I am the mighty Kyuubi, the strongest of the 9 Bijks, remember it, and remember it well, brat. The Kyuubi roared with pride. Hey Kyuubi. BB, but how you are supposed to be dead? How and why are you here? The Kyuubi raised an eyebrow at that. Is that what they've told you? Pretty sure they know that I'm sealed within you. Sealed? What do you mean? A very confused Naruto asked. The Kyuubi released a long heavy and sat down. Listen and listen well, kid, this is going to take a while. With that being said, Naruto sat down looking up to the Kyuubi. When I attacked this village of yours, the Yondaime engaged me in battle. Seeing as he could not hope to best me, he successfully sealed me within you and died due to the Fukin jutsu he used to seal me. Originally he was only going to seal half of me in you and the other half in himself, due to most likely not having enough chakra, but somehow he gained a large amount of chakra and so he sealed all of me within you. So you're the reason this village hates and ignores my existence, Naruto said softly and sadly. So where am I? Inside the seal. She asked. This is your mind, and no, I'm in the seal, you are sitting outside the seal. When you enter your mind, your conscious creates this place in order for you communicate with me and a few other things, though you do not need to be in your mind in order to communicate. We can talk while out in the real world, the Kyuubi explained. Then do you know why I am so different from the rest of the villages? Naruto asked while pointing to her ears and holding one of her tails. Yes I do, have you not asked the Sandaime this? Asked Kyuubi. I have, but he says he doesn't know why, she replied holding her head low looking at her feet. He does know why, as to why he hasn't told you, most likely trying to protect you, you will have to ask him yourself to get the correct reason. Though you need not worry, he means you no harm and isn't trying to betray you if that's what you're thinking, the Kyuubi said, seeing the frown forming on her face. Well, that's a relief, I'll go ask him tomorrow. So why am I like this? Asked Naruto with the hope that of finding out and that her grandfather figure hopefully means well. When you were a year old you were on the verge of dying due to your body not adapting fast enough to be able to withhold my chakra. In order to keep you alive as well as myself, I had to heal you. The effects of me healing you, and in order for you to live you were turned into a Hanyou, half human half demon. As a side effect of this, because I am a fox demon, you gain traits of a fox during your transformation, so you gain those ears and tails. You will grow more tails as you grow older and get stronger. You received a few additional traits as well, but I will leave you to figure it out. Oh, so you know you also gain new abilities and traits with each new tail, but you must figure out what they are, the Kyuubi explained. Wow, this is a lot to take in, Naruto sighed while trying to process all this information. Yes, it is a lot to take in, especially the age you are now, replied the Kyuubi while lying back down. Last 2 questions if you don't mind. Asked Naruto. Well then ask them if it pleases you, the Kyuubi replied back lazily. First question. Why did you attack Konoha? Asked Naruto in a slight serious voice. Ignoring the tone used, the Kyuubi thought whether or not he should tell her. After a few minutes the Kyuubi stared down at Naruto, she gulped at the serious look on his face. Instead of telling you, I will reply with a question of my own. What would you do if you have been forced into a place like this for around 100 years because some arrogant power-hungry ass used a jutsu to forcefully control your actions, then later managed to escape only to be controlled again? Asked the Kyuubi. Naruto stared wide-eyed at the fox. Is this what happened to you? So what if it did? That's not the point is what you would do, the Kyuubi replied with haste. Naruto thought for a while before answering, and to be honest not entirely sure as I don't know what it's like, but from trying to imagine it, I'd say I would have done what you did, Naruto said, trying to comprehend the scenario. So why don't answer your own question then, retorted the Kyuubi. Naruto sat there for a while, then smiled up to Kyuubi. All she got back for the smile was a snort from Kyuubi. So second question. Is Kyuubi your name? Asked Naruto. The Kyuubi raised an eyebrow at the question. What makes you think that and why do you ask? Kyuubi asked out of curiosity. Well, like Jiji, Sandaime or Hokage isn't his name, it's Iritobi Hiruzen, it's just a title, so I thought that maybe with you, it would be the same case. Naruto asked with a smile on her face showing her slightly longer canines. The Kyuubi stared at the strange child in front of him with slight interest at her pure hardiness behavior. You are correct in that assumption, but you have not earned the right to know my name. Maybe as time flows I might tell you my name. Normal traditions among us demons only those seen worthy may refer to us by our names, replied the Kyuubi while laying his head down and closing his eyes. Naruto stood up with a wide grin filled with pride and happiness while holding her thumb up and said, well my name is Uzumaki Naruto, the future's best Hokage to be ever seen. Databeo. Kyuubi opened one and stared while Naruto turned around. Thank you Kyuubi, you could have refused to say anything to me. At least I now know why I am so different from everyone in this village. I will have an easier life now that I know what I am, and I'm also very happy that I found myself my first friend, Naruto happily said softly but loud enough for the fox to hear with a single tear running down from her right eye. Naruto left the seal leaving Kyuubi to his thoughts on what she had just said. Friend huh? Interesting person you are, let us see for how long you can keep up that attitude, the Kyuubi thought before closing his eye and falling asleep. Naruto woke up the next morning feeling a lot happier than usual. After quickly taking a shower and getting dressed in the same clothes she wore the previous day. Kid, few things I need to tell you, Kyuubi said out of the blue. Ah, damn it Kyuubi, you scared the hell out of me, going to have to get used to that. Naruto screamed causing her to stumble and fall knocking the door open. Ha ha ha, that was a good way to wake up in the morning, said the Kyuubi while laughing at Naruto's predicament. Damn you, you damn furball. Growled Naruto while getting back up and locking her door. Furball? Oi you damn brat, I'm not a furball. Also you don't need to talk out loud, just think what you want to say and I will hear it. You don't want people to think you insane do you? Asked the Kyuubi with annoyance. Well maybe I do want people to think I'm insane, Naruto thought sarcastically back to Kyuubi who just rolled his eyes. Anyway, as I wanted to say is that you are rather small for your age and that ramen diet of yours doesn't exactly help, Kyuubi said seriously. Hey, it's not like I can afford anything else and Ichiraku Ramen is one of the few places that doesn't kick me out as soon as I enter. Naruto shot back. I have a solution to that. Now that you are a Hanyou, you are now able to eat raw meat as well as most foods that would normally kill a human, so when you finish your talk with the old man, you should go hunting out in the forest for food. Not only will it keep you on a healthy diet, it will also allow you to train yourself a bit, Kyuubi ordered. Raw meat, I don't like the sound of that, but if it will help then I guess, with slight disgust in her voice. Hokage Tower. Naruto walked up to the door that leads into the Hokage's office and knocks, enter, a muffled voice responded. Hey Jiji, Naruto cheerfully greeted the Hokage. Nari-chan, what brings you here this morning? I trust all is well with your new apartment? Asked the Hokage. Visits from Naruto always brighten his day. Her lovely, beautiful and innocent smile of hers is what always brightens his day. Yes, it's lovely and again thank you for helping getting it and moving in, she replied. Not at all, we can't have you sleeping in the streets or forest. So what can I help you with this morning, Nari-chan? Asked the Hokage. Well Jiji, last night after I fell asleep I made contact with Kyuubi and he told me a few things like what happened when I was a year old, said Naruto in a slightly nervous tone. I see, so he told you why you are different from the other villages? He asked in a calm tone, though underneath he was hoping Naruto didn't take his lying to her about why she was like that too harshly. Yes he did, he also told me about the additional abilities that come with it. He also told me that you knew about this, she replied looking down, hiding her face, making it impossible to read her expressions. The Hokage sighed, taking a puff from his pipe before setting it down and puffing out smoke from his mouth. What he says is true, I do know, as I was there when you transformed into a Hanyou. You must understand that I withheld this was to protect you from possible harming yourself and not doubt the villagers if they found out how you were turned. Life could have been a lot more difficult than you not knowing. I plan to tell you this when you graduate from the Ninja Academy, where I feel that you would be able to better handle this information when you were older and more mature. I am very sorry for having to lie to you about this, the Hokage said in his lecture voice. Naruto looked up to him with a massive grin on her face. I understand, I'm just happy that it was the reason I was hoping to get. So Jiji, do you know who my parents were? She asked with hope. The Hokage looked to her with sad a smile. Naruto instantly lost her smile and once again looked down to the floor. The Hokage saw this and in the hopes you cheer her up, decided to tell her a part of it. Nari-chan, I do know who your parents were, though I am sad to say that I can't tell yet, as they were both very powerful and famous people. I cannot tell you because your parents had more enemies than I dare to count, and if they found out they had a child, they would go to great lengths to take revenge or attempt to kidnap the child. So Nari-chan, please understand this when I say I cannot tell you, though when you are promoted to Chunin I will happily tell you who your parents are, replied the Hokage. Well then Jiji, you better get ready to tell me because I will make Chunin in no time, Naruto exclaimed happily. I will hold you to that, Nari-chan, the Hokage replied with a smile. Oh yay Jiji, because I'm a Hanyou I'm able to eat foods that would normally make a human sick or kill them, raw meat being an example, so is it fine if I hunt in the forest? Asked Naruto. Yes, you may, as long as you are careful and take what you need and no more, the Hokage replied in a serious tone. Hi, I will, and thanks again Gigi, Naruko said before running out the office towards a brighter and happier future. Or did she? Slowly stirring to the sound of a bird happily chirping away, moaned Naruko while rubbing sleep from her eyes. Bird, do you always have to chirp from right outside my window, she said softly in a tired voice while dragging her feet to the window. Opening the window and waving her arms around, stupid bird, and look, the sun is barely up yet, she sighed. No matter what I try, I always wake up just before the sun comes up, whined Naruko. Impatiently tapping her fingers on the table while waiting for the 3 minutes it takes for the ramen to cook. Need to go and hunt today, I've run out of meat. Need to thank Kik-chan for the advice on hunting. Not only do I get free food, but also the pelts I get from my catches really do help to bring in some extra pocket money, Naruko thought while making a mental note to thank Kyuubi. No need to thank me kid, you the one that come up with the idea after seeing those hunters wearing animal pelts. Beside, you already thanked me 2.5 years ago when I taught you how to hunt, replied Kyuubi, impressed with the idea of selling the pelts. Oh, you up, morning Kik-chan, and hey, thanks is due where thanks is due. Though that reminds me, I haven't thanked Inu-san. He offered to buy me my clothes for me, all I need to do is leave a note in the box by my front door saying what clothes I want along with the money needed, and poof, the next day I have clothes in the box, Naruko remembered while getting ready to shower. Oh look, I have my third tail now, wonder what I get with this one, Naruko said, finally noticing the additional tail. Naruko is now a 51-inch 7-year-old. Her hair now reaches towards the middle of the back. She has lost all baby fat and is a bit more defined body build than normal kids her age, muscles on her calves and biceps are slightly visible. Kitsunes tend to develop early on, thus making her seem a few years older than she really is. The last few years have been different, she doesn't get abused as much as she used to, now that she is able to comfortably outrun the mobs and few occasional Chuninins, though luckily enough she doesn't get chased by Chunin, thanks to Inu, Nico and Taka. Nico has been the one that helps Naruko sell her pelts to the Anbu, as they have plenty of uses for them. Her house still gets damaged fairly often, more so on her birthday, which is also the same date which Kyuubi attacked the village. Naruko and Kyuubi have become closer over the last few years, Naruko making it a habit of speaking to Kyuubi inside the seal every night, or if there is nothing to say she just spends time with Kyuubi before she goes off to sleep. Kyuubi has come to acknowledge Naruko as a friend, though hasn't admitted it to her yet. Climbing out the shower while wrapping a towel around her, she makes her way to her closet to change into her new regular attire. Did you better hurry up the hunting, because if you remember it's your first day at the academy today, Kyuubi warned, seeing as it looks like Naruko has completely forgotten about it. Oh shit, I totally forgot, thanks for reminding me Kik-chan, Naruko said frantically, proving Kyuubi's point, while quickly putting on her clothes and running out her door, while still tying her ribbons onto her pigtails. Her new attire consists of a black long-sleeved tight shirt with an orange sleeveless jacket vest over her shirt, same design as Yoruichi from Bleach, with long black skin-tight pants that reach to her ankles. Her tail's wrapped around her waist, making it look like a belt, with black boots that reach to her mid-calves, slim and tight enough that the pants and boots look like it's one piece. Few hours later, I still have an hour before class starts. Should still go and hang around school and see all who is starting with me this year, Naruko thought while making her way to the academy, trying to imagine what her first day will be like. You should memorize the sense of all your classmates and teachers, you never know what might happen. Also, when your day is done, go to one of the training grounds, preferable one that is unoccupied, as now that you have your third tail, I will teach you what ability that comes with it and how to use it, Kyuubi half warned and told. Will do, though the way you said that sounds creepy. So what is it you are going to teach me? And I thought you said I had to figure out what abilities I get with each tail. I have only figured out that the second tail highly increased my agility and flexibility. Still haven't figured what other abilities I have, just that with each tail my strength and stamina increase several-fold, Naruko replied. You will find out after school what I have in store, Kyuubi said in a voice that slightly scared Naruko, and yes, I did tell you to figure it out, but this specific ability you might not figure out due to what they will be teaching you at the academy. Now go on, class starts in about 20 minutes, Kyuubi said, so he can go and prepare for this afternoon's training. Entering the class and stopping at the entrance, interesting design I'll admit, Naruko said while taking note of the design of the class. The entrance to the classroom seems to be the back of the classroom with 3 rows of tables and chairs, long enough to comfortably sit 3 people per table. Each row has 4 columns of tables, each one being a step lower than the next, the highest being the back row. On the other side of the entrance are windows that give a view of a tree, with a swing to the far right near the front of the class. Next to the tree on the left are 6 wooden figure posts with a target on the center of the post. Each post is about 2 human adults' width worth of space between them, with a wooden fence behind them. At the front of the class is a podium in the center on slightly raised inch-tall platform, the same width as the blackboard behind the podium. The blackboard takes up 3/4 of the wall. To the left of the podium near the window is a single wide desk with a single chair next to it facing towards the podium. Heading towards the desk at the very back of the class in this case is in front of her near the window. Naruto takes a seat closest to the window and looks around the class and notes a few people, around 8 in the class including her, but only takes proper note of a few people. In the front of the class on the far side next to the wall, Naruto sees Hyuga Hinata. Hinata is 2 inches shorter than Naruto. She has short dark blue hair with 2 braids in the front on either sides of her face. She wears a brown-gray baggy jacket with navy blue baggy pants that reach her mid-shins with blue shinobi sandals. So Hina-chan is in this class. It has been a while since I last saw her. Last time I saw her was 2 years ago when I her saved from those bullies, Naruto thought while thinking of the time she saved her from those 3 bullies. At the desk in front of his, the row next his in the middle of the desk is the bug boy that she hears from everyone on how disgusting he is and that one should remain as far away from him as possible. And that's Shino if I recall his name correctly, don't know the family name though. Wonder if what everyone says it's true about him. He seems normal to me, though does smell like bugs, but that doesn't bother me, smelt far worse things than that, Naruto thought, wondering what all the fuss is about him. From what Naruto can see, Shino is wearing a light green jacket with a hood up. Lastly, the boy in front of her has black hair and seems to have a hint of blue to it as it shines and reflects the sun. He is wearing a short blue sleeve shirt with a symbol on the back that looks like a lollipop, the top half being red and the bottom half being white, along with what seems like white pair short pants from the view Naruto can't see. So this is the Uchiha that I hear so often about. He seems good looking enough, not sure what the hype is about though, Naruto thought, while wondering why the boy is so popular, and Kyuubi growls at this. Kyuubi, is there something I should be aware of this boy? She asked after hearing the quite aggressive growl from Kyuubi. No, maybe not yet, though do keep an eye on him, the Uchihas, and I do not have a happy history. And no, I will not say any more, Kyuubi warned and said towards the incoming question as to why their past isn't a happy one. As Naruto finishes her thoughts, 2 boys walk into the room. The boy on the right has black hair tied up making it look like a pineapple and also has brown eyes. He is wearing a gray short sleeve jacket that's not zipped up with green hems on the edges of the jacket. On each sleeve of the jacket is a big blue open circle. Underneath is a chainmail mesh sleeveless shirt with dark brown long pants that reach his shins with blue shinobi sandals. His hands are in his pockets and has a lazy attitude look on his face and body language. The boy next to him is a slightly plump boy with a packet of chips in his hands. He has light brown spiky hair that stands up and black eyes with a swirl mark on each cheek. He is wearing an open plain grass green short sleeve shirt with a white shirt underneath with his clan symbol printed out big on the front with a white scarf around his neck. On both of his forearms are bandages that cover the palm of his hands and reach towards his elbows. To complete the outfit, he is wearing short brown pants with bandages on both legs that starts at his knees and reach to where his blue shinobi sandals start. They both make their way to where Naruto is sitting. The black-haired boy sits next to her and the plum boy on the other side. Hey, I haven't seen you around the village before. Our names are Nara Shikamaru and my friend here is Akimichi Chouji. Are you new to the village? Asked the now identified black-haired boy known as Shikamaru said in a friendly tone. Oh hey, no, I was born in this village. I just tend to avoid contact and stay out of sight from most people. The name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Naruto replied, slightly happy that these kids don't actually know who she is. Actually, on that thought, none of these kids have reacted to me in any way so far, unlike the rest of the adults. Wonder why? Naruto suddenly realizing this. Oh, good to meet you, responded Chouji while crunching away on his chips. Naruto, huh? Nice to meet you too. You seem just like me, too troublesome to bother with anyone else, Shikamaru replied while holding his hand out. Naruto taking hold of it and shaking it replies, yay, something like that. So you want to be a ninja as well? Naruto asked, quickly changing the subject on why she avoids people. Shikamaru noticing the sudden change in subject and decides to leave it at that. Not really, but my troublesome family said I must. Sigh, and at least this way I can keep an eye on my friend here, Shikamaru replies, will point his thumb to his friend next to him. With class now full, the teacher walks in, ending the conversations between everyone. As soon as the teacher takes his first step down between the rows, a boy with a dog in his jacket coming running into the class, nearly knocking the teacher over. The boy with the dog has dark brown spiky hair with black slit-like eyes, and on each cheek is a upside-down red curved triangle, making look like a fang. He is wear a grey zipped-up long-sleeved jacket to keep the dog from falling out, with the hood up. The jacket has black fur on the edges of his hood and at the end of his sleeves. He is also wearing brown long pants that reach his shins with blue shinobi sandals. The dog, from what Naruto can see, is a white-grey dog with long flappy ears, and the dog is clearly small if it can fit in his jacket like that. You're lucky I only consider someone late when I'm standing in the front of the class, make sure next time you are here a few minutes earlier alright, the teacher calmly advised the boy. Yes sensei, sorry sensei won't happen again, the boy said sounding out of breath. Right class I'm Yamino Ruka, please call me sensei or Ruka sensei. Your life now begins at this academy where you will be taught all that you need to know on how to be a ninja. Your classes will include ninjutsu theory, shuriken and kunai handling, taijutsu, fitness and obstacle course training, mathematics, history, and later the class will be split into girls and boys. The girls will have an additional class on being kunoichi, and the boys will go to a class on being a shinobi, and for the last year a sex education class which will also split the class into separate genders, Haruka lectured to the class. So this is Haruka sensei that Gigi said he would personally make my homeroom teacher. Well I trust Gigi's judgment on this, we'll just have to see how it goes Naruto thought, remembering what the Hokage said to her about getting personally appointed homeroom teacher. Right well now we will begin class registration please respond appropriately when your name is called, Haruka said while picking up the class register. Aburam Shino? Hi. So it's Aburam Shino, the current clan heir for his clan Naruto thought hearing his name being called out. Akamichi Chaoji? Hi. Few names later, Haruno Sakura. Hi sensei. Haruno. A non-clan female interesting Naruto thought when the girl with pink hair sitting next to the Uchiha answered. Hi Uga Hinata. Hi, Hinata said softly and nervously. Still lacks self-confidence I see. Wonder why, she seems stronger than she lets on and has more determination than any other kid I've seen Naruto thought, trying to figure out why she is so abnormally shy. And Yuzuka Kiba. Hi. Replied Kiba with a bark following afterwards. Excited to Akamaru. Kiba asked to the bark, followed by another happy bark. So dog boy there is Kiba. Inyazuka, explains the dog that follows him along with the traits and smell of dogs I pick up from him thought Naruto. Few names later, Nara Shikamaru. Nara Shikamaru. Haruka said louder. Naruto looks to her left right to see him sleeping, rolling her eyes she shakes and tries to wake him up while thinking, damn lazy ass fell asleep already. Boy Baka wake up. Naruto says while frantically shaking the lazy ass. Shikamaru groans. Nara Shikamaru. Oh, hi, the Nara replies lazily. I advise not to fall asleep next time, Haruka warns, while the Nara just nods and mumbles something inaudible before putting his head back down again. Uchiha Sasuke. Hi, Sasuke replies with slight happiness in his voice, followed by a lot of love sighs and all the girls turning towards him the hearts in their eyes. What the? This class is filled with fangirls the only girl not to drool over him is Hinata. Honestly I don't get what is so great about him Naruto thought slightly annoyed and confused. Uzumaki Naruto. Haruka calls out and instantly look towards her with a fake smile and cold hate-filled eyes. Hi. Naruto responds. There is that look again. So he is just like the rest, so much for the hope of a pleasant homeroom teacher Naruto thought sadly and with a bit of anger. Last but not least, Yamanaka Ino. Hai Ino sings back. Wow she is pretty, wonder how long she spends on her hair Naruto thought while looking at the yellow blonde girl who has her hair done in a ponytail that reaches to the middle of her back that is sitting next to Sakura. Wow 7 clan heirs, this class seems to have the potential for a strong generation she thought, looking at all the clan heirs in the class. Now that that's done. Right so I will be your homeroom teacher so if you need anything you may come to me for help. I will also be your ninjutsu theory, shuriken and kunai handling, taijutsu and obstacle course training teacher. Mizuki sensei will be your mathematics and history teacher along with as the teacher for the boys shinobi class. Suzume sensei will be your sex ed teacher along with being the girls kunoichi teacher, Haruka once again lectured to the class. During the ninjutsu class, can anyone tell me what chakra is? Haruka asked the class. Only one person put their hand up. Yes Sakura, Haruka nodded to her. Chakra is the molding of 2 different energies within the body. Physical energy comes from stamina which can be obtained and increased through hard work and physical training. Mental energy or spiritual energy comes from the mind and one's conscious, which can be obtained and increased through studying, meditation and experience. Molding these 2 energies in perfect unison is what creates chakra, Sakura happily and with pride answered the question. Well done Sakura that's 100% correct, but if the 2 energies are not mixed in perfect unison, the jutsu being used will fail or not be fully effective, Haruka praised Sakura. Wow a book nerd, so she is rather smart in those terms, but wonder how she will fare physical Naruto thought towards the textbook-like answer Sakura gave. Later that afternoon, well that was a downright crap day. The only classes I was actually allowed in were Haruka sensei's class the rest kicked me out. At least with my hearing I could still clearly hear what they said. Need to take my textbook out with me next time, Naruto said with a sigh. She really had a bad first day from being kicked out of the classes before they even began for no reason, though she knew what the real reason for it was. Coming up to an empty training ground, she sat underneath a tree having a short rest from her daily exercise of running as fast as she can around the village until she could no longer move and then tries to complete a lap afterwards. All this running is paying off. I can now run 3 times longer than what I could when I first started, and now I can complete a lap around Konoha when I'm at my limit. Wonder if that's now my new limit, Naruto thought happily and pleased with her progress. Did I told you running around will be worth it. Running like that only increases your stamina and helps define your muscles, you only gain minimal strength from it. Now that you have started going to the academy, you should start adding strength training to your schedule. Ask Hanyou to get you some weights for your legs, arms and chest, Kyuubi said to her, and don't think too much about you getting kicked out of class, there is not much you can do about it, you can go and speak with the old man, though I think it might make things worse. Yasha, I get to up my training routine, I can't wait. Naruto excitedly thought. And thanks Kik-chan, if they carry on doing that for the rest of the week I will go speak with Gigi, Naruto gratefully replied back to Kyuubi. So what is it you wanted to teach me? Asked Naruto. I will be teaching the thing that makes us Kitsunes stand out from the rest of the demons. Transformation, or better as known as shape-shifting, Kyuubi replied with great pride in his voice. Shape-shifting? Wow, that's super cool. I can do that. Wow, that's really cool, Naruto shouted in her mind while jumping around. Shaking his head, Kyuubi tried to calm down Naruto so they could get underway. Alright, calm down kid, and with that Naruto calmed down and sat back down underneath the tree. First, there are a few things you must taking note. Well, you are able to shape-shift into just about anything you can think of. You must remember what you change into you will only look like that and will not have its abilities unless it's an animal. So to better explain this, the Hyuga as you know are known for their use of the Byakugan. If you change into one you can make it look like you have the Byakugan active, but you will not be able to see what they see when it is activated, you will still have your normal vision. Do you understand so far? The Kyuubi asked. Yes, I do. So basically I can change into anything, I will still have my own abilities, but will not gain any of theirs. Naruto confirmed. Yes, that's correct. Now if you say change into an animal you will gain their unique traits on top of yours. Example, if you turn into a hawk, you will be able to fly and your vision will be greatly increased, or if you turn into a fish of any kind you will be able to breathe underwater, or if you turn into a chameleon, you will be able to change your skin color to match your surroundings. This is because when we change at a cellular level and not at DNA level. There was only one kitsune I have seen that could change at a DNA level, though never did change in fear for not being able to change back. Kyuubi continued his lecture. I see, that's pretty cool and sounds very useful, Naruto replied, impressed with what she will be able to do. Yes, this is what makes Kitsune stand out from the rest. Other demons can also shape-shift, but they don't get anything for it. The last thing you must take note of is these shape-shifts are not indefinite, you will change back to your original form. The time you are able to stay in another form is directly related to your stamina, and the size of the form is inversely related. This is the price for gaining unique traits of other animals. That being said, other demons are able to indefinitely stay in another form. The only form you can indefinitely stay in is a fox, as it is the natural form of a kitsune. While you are a fox, your speed, senses, agility and stealth abilities are increased several folds equal to the number of tails you have, not including the first tail. While in any form that does not have hands you will be limited to what you can do with your chakra, said Kyuubi in a serious lecture tone. Wow, okay, that's definitely something to remember, Naruto said, taking heed to the final fact of the limits to what she can do. Yes, it's very important, so remember it, as can come back to bite you. The great thing about changing is that it doesn't require chakra or anything, as it is a natural ability for a kitsune. Other demons require chakra to change. So to change is pretty simply all you do is will yourself into a form you picture in your mind. If you will yourself to change without thinking of anything to change into, you will change into a fox, so go ahead and try to change into a fox, Kyuubi ordered. So Naruto tried and willed herself to change. Slowly her body absorbed her clothes, leaving her naked, before her body started to contort and crunching could be heard. After around 5 seconds, Naruto was a gold blonde fox with 3 trails. She was the size of a normal dog, fair bit smaller than a wolf. Well done, and in 5 seconds as well, that's very good. The average first time for a demon to change is around 7 to 10 seconds, let alone a Hanyou, Kyuubi said, impressed with how quickly she was able to change. Wow, this is cool, though I'm a bit disorientated with my senses being increased, and this feels a bit weird, and it hurt quite a bit when changing, Naruto thought to Kyuubi while admiring her form and walking around a bit, trying to get used to the new heightened senses. It always hurts when you change the first few times. So for you to get used to this form you should explore around for an hour, though don't enter the village, no good will come from that. Kyuubi warned, knowing that wild animals don't go wandering into the village, and with the village not taking a liking to foxes, walking into the village in the form of a fox with more than one tail is bound to cause chaos and trouble. An hour later, now that you are more used to this form and increased senses make you way back to the training grounds, so we can continue getting you used to changing forms, Kyuubi said, seeing that Naruto is a lot more comfortable in this form. While Naruto was walking towards her destination, the Kyuubi explained more details about the shape-shifting ability. As you change more often and get the hang of changing, you will be able to decrease the time it takes to change. The fastest I seen someone change was faster than I could blink. Because you are able to change as fast as you are now, I expect you to reach the same level. Knowing you, you would want to try and surpass that level, Kyuubi said with a bit of laughter in his voice. Haha, you know me too well, Kik-chan, and of course I'm going to surpass that level. I always love a challenge, Naruto shot back with pride, while finally making her way back to the tree she originally sat under before the training started. She quickly reverted back to her human form before sitting down and said, well, at least I get my clothes back when I change back and don't have to pick them up when I do change. That would be slightly annoying. That is one of the perks of shape-shifting. Also, any additional weight you have on you when you change will still remain, so only your shape and natural body weight will change. So if you do change into a bird, you should remove the additional weight if you wish to fly. When you become physical stronger, then you won't have to worry about extra weight, and if anything it will just help with your training. Kyuubi add to the list of things that one needs to know when shape-shifting. For the next hour, Naruto continued to change from human to fox and back, practicing and shortening the time in which she is able to change. Well done, Kit, you've reduced your transformation time to just under a second. At this rate you should have mastered this within the next few months, Kyuubi said, amazed at the rate Naruto is able to decrease her transformation time. Enough changing for today. For the next hour, turn into an eagle and practice flying, and be ready to change into your human form so you can minimize the damage when you fall, Kyuubi warned. And so for the next hour, Naruto was flying around and falling shortly after takeoff on the first 5 to 6 times. While flying high in the sky, after finally being able to fly without falling like a small rocket and enjoying the wind rushing past her face, this is the best ever. Naruto shouted her thoughts at the thrill and rush of flying. Naruto's apartment, landing in front of her door and changing back into her human form, she unlocks her door and heads in. The first thing she does is writes a note to Inu and places it in the box by her door. Dear Inu-san, when you have the time, could you please buy me a pair of wrist, ankle and chest weights, hopefully the same color as my vest. As I have no clue how much they will cost when you buy them, just leave the receipt and I will pay you back the amount. As for the weight, could you give me a weight you think would be best for me to start with? Just please also keep in mind that I am a fair bit stronger than most humans my age. If I would guess, I'd say I'm as strong as an adult. Could one pair please be double the weight of the first one, as I have recently acquired a form that doubles, almost triples my strength and can stay in that form for as long as I see fit. I would also like to deeply express my gratitude for the past few years and for all the buying of clothes and other needed things I've need. I would like to thank you in person though, so in the meantime thanks. Thank you so much. Your favorite Kitsune Ninja. Hope Inu-san gets this soon, really looking forward to adding to my training scheme, thought Naruto happily with yawn towards the end while removing her clothes and wrapping herself with her tails before falling asleep on top of her bed. The next morning, just as Naruto gets to the door, she notices that her delivery box is full, so walking up to it, she sees that the weights she asked for last night are in the box, along with 2 notes and full ninja weapon set with the 2 pouches to hold the weapons in. Wow, that was fast. Honestly didn't think it would be here already, she thought surprisingly, seeing that there are 2 notes from Inu and Taki. Naruto first opens the note from Taki. Hello Uzumaki-san, want to wish you luck for the next few years at the academy. I have left you a full shinobi's gear and pouches as a gift for entering the academy. I also would like to ask you to look after my brother for me when I'm not around. My brother sat in front of you yesterday, he is also the boy that is bit of a fan group. Thanks, Taki. Oh, it's from Taki-san. Your brother, does he mean the Uchiha kid? Naruto wondered who Taki's brother was. Little did she know that the note would be the last one from Taki she ever received. So Taki-san is Itachi-san, who knew? She continued her thought while opens the second note. Foxy-chan, here are the weights you asked for, hope you like them. I'm really happy that you are taking your training seriously. The wrist and ankle weights are 20 kilograms each, and the vest is 25 kilograms, and as you requested, the other pair is double the weight. No need to pay me back for the weights, they're on the house. The weights work on chakra, so if you ever need to increase the weight, just feed chakra into them to increase the weight. I presume the fox and eagle are the new forms you were talking about, I saw them yesterday when you were training. No need to worry, only myself, Hokage and the other 2 Anbu will know about this until you choose to reveal them. It's a pleasure, I'm more than happy to help, and I'm sure you will get to thank me in the next few years. Your favorite shopkeeper, Inu. Thanks you guys, Naruto said with a happy and wide grin on her face. So Inu-san is my shadow for this week, she observed. Naruto put on the weights and happy with how they looked. The chest weight looked exactly the same as her normal jacket vest and her weights are the same color. She puts the on and definitely notices the weight. The wrist's weights are orange like her vest, they start at her wrists and end halfway up her forearms. Just like her wrist's weights, her ankle weights are orange and start by her ankles and ends just above halfway up her calves. With her new attire along with the added pouch on her bottom on the right side and a small pouch on the side of her right thigh, Naruto heads to school for her second day. Hopefully it will be better than her first day. Looking up to a cloudy sky, Naruto makes her way to the academy. It's been 4 months since I've started going to the academy and still only Iruka-sensei allows me to remain class. Gigi did what he could, but after a week they started kicking me out again, Naruto thought with sigh. Winter is going to be rolling in soon, need to prepare as this winter looks like it's going to be the coldest one we've had so far, she continued her thought while rubbing her arms, trying to keep them warm on this colder than usual day. Kid, what are you going to do about your birthday? That's in 2 months, you know how bad it gets during that time. Kyuubi asked, knowing how bad it gets during the time of her birthday, especially on the day itself. Honestly Kik-chan, I don't know. The normal living in the forest for a few weeks would be fine, but with this colder winter coming in and now that I'm at the academy, I don't think it's going to work too well this time round. I think I will go ask Gigi what I should do, she replied, thinking hard on what to do this year to avoid the constant mobs that attack her home and herself. Don't forget to up the weights today, and I think you need a new pair, this pair is quite worn out, you should ask Inu for a new pair or if they can be repaired, Kyuubi informed. Oh right, thanks Kik-chan, hope they can be repaired, I really like this set. Naruto thanked while increasing the weight. Over the past 4 months Naruto has increased the weights a total of 3 times, including this increase. The weights now weigh 35 kilograms for the wrists and ankle weights and 40 kilograms for the chest weight. Her daily schedule includes of hunting in the morning, school to around mid-afternoon, running around the village, physical training which includes push-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups. For her final training she practices decreasing her transformation time, flying and changing into other forms as quickly as she can. At the academy, walking into the class, Naruto notices that Sasuke is earlier than usual and can smell a lot of sadness and hatred off him. Wonder why he is here so early and why does he seem so different today. Besides the body language I can smell quite a fair bit of hatred, Naruto wondered. Naruto's ears twitched to the conversation that is taking place by the desk in front of Sasuke. Hey, did you hear someone killed off the entire Uchiha clan and this guy here is the only survivor, the boy whispered to his friend. Really, that's awful, wonder how the guy feels. Do you know what happened? The friend asked. Naruto fading out the conversation to her thoughts, she looks to the Uchiha with wide eyes and trembling slightly. What, his clan was killed? When was this? He seems fine, yesterday must have happened last night, Naruto thought sadly, while Kyuubi kept his own more rude thoughts to himself. Later that afternoon, making her way to her regular training ground, Naruto holds her head down thinking of the event that happened last night. During the course of the day and on her way to the training grounds, she learned a lot of what happened. She learned that Uchiha Itachi had slaughtered his entire clan, only leaving his little brother alive. A lot of people didn't expect this from him, though are not surprised that he was able to pull it off, as his was the youngest Anbu captain the village had at the age of 13, 2 years after being accepted into the Anbu Corps. The thing that was troubling Naruto the most was that she could not believe he would do such a thing. There was no way Taki-san could do such a thing, though she never knew him well enough. The fact that Inu-san and Gigi trusted him to help and protect her was the main reason she doubted this. Her thoughts come to an end when she saw Sasuke sitting on a wooden dock a few meters out above a large lake. Slowly making her way towards him, she decides to see if she can help him. Quietly sitting next to Sasuke, he notices her but pays no heed to her presence. Naruto softly asked, "So do you want to talk about it?" Sasuke just looked towards her with cold dead eyes, causing Naruto to flinch slightly before looking away. "You shouldn't keep this to yourself, you know. You don't need to tell me anything, but you should speak to someone," Naruto said softly. "HN," Sasuke grunted. "You're not going to get anywhere with that attitude, all the more reason why I said you should speak to someone," Naruto said a little louder. "What the hell do you know? Now if you don't have anything else to say then piss off," Sasuke quietly shot back. "Yeah, you're right, I don't know what it's like to lose someone or a family for the simple I've never either," she calmly replied. Sasuke turned to face Naruto with a raised eyebrow. "What do you mean by that?" he asked. "I lost both my parents the day I was born to the Kyuubi attack, and because I was born on the day Kyuubi attacked the village thinks I'm the Kyuubi reborn. They don't say it right to me, but I can hear the comments they make about me. As a result I'm hated or ignored by everyone in this village. So I may not know what it's like to lose a family or a clan, but on some level I can relate to the pain you feel," Naruto responded quietly. Kyuubi quietly kept to himself upon recalling the day he attacked. Sasuke was very surprised by this, though he didn't show this, but he still was shocked to hear what this girl has been through. After staring at her for a few minutes he turns away from Naruto, quietly going over everything that has happened in the past 24 hours. Getting up and slowing walking away, Naruto stops facing away from Sasuke. She says, "You don't have to believe me or listen to my words, you can honestly do them what you like, but at least think on them before walking off to train." The next morning, walking into the class along with Shikamaru and Choji, Naruto sees that Sasuke is early again today, though seems calmer than yesterday. Heading towards the desk and sitting down, Choji offers Shikamaru and Naruto some chips. Taking a few chips, Naruto quietly wonders why Kyuubi hasn't said anything since yesterday morning, and when she went into the seal Kyuubi was nowhere to be seen. Naruto is a little troubled as Kyuubi has the habit of making at least a few comments, especially during training, so the silence yesterday was a little unnerving for her. "So is it true?" Sasuke asked. Ever since yesterday Sasuke has been a bit more moody, though that's expected with what happened, but even before yesterday the only times I've seen Sasuke talk is during registration or when he gets asked a question. So why is he talking and why is he talking to Naruto? Shikamaru wonders while opening eye while he is laying his head on his arms. "Is what true?" Naruto responds. "Is it true, is what you said yesterday true?" Sasuke asked a little louder while still sitting and facing towards the front of the class. Wonder what she said yesterday to get him to talk. The Nara thought while looking towards Naruto and continues to listen to the rare conversation between Naruto and Sasuke no less. "That is for you to decide. I said my piece and as I said it's up to you what to make of it," Naruto replies before looking down to Shikamaru. "What was that about?" Shikamaru asked lazily. "Not much, just some advice I gave about recent events," she replies while looking out towards the window. "Seems to bother some, so I'll just leave it at that," Shikamaru says while closing his eyes, knowing that he is not going to get any more out of her. During ninjutsu class. "So today we are going to learn the first ninjutsu you will be learning at the academy," Iruka lectured while outside standing in front of the training posts. "The first jutsu we will be doing this the Hanyou no jutsu. The Hanyou no jutsu uses your chakra to coat your body and chances your appearance to what it is you want to transform into. The jutsu requires 3 hand signs Inu, I and Hitsuji, in that order. I trust you know and have practiced all the basic hand signs." Iruka continued with his lecture. "I will demonstrate once, then I want you to practice until class is finished," Iruka said while running through the hand signs, and with a poof of smoke, there stood the current Hokage. "Right, now you guys try," Iruka ordered with the Hokage's voice. Later that afternoon, while punching a training post, Naruto suddenly picks up 2 additional scents. Still punching to make it look like she hasn't noticed, she takes a few sniffs and recognizes the 2 scents. That's Hinata and Sasuke. Why are they here? Looks like I will have to hold of my shape-shifting training, Naruto thought while continuing training. It seems that they are just observing me. Hinata I can understand, but why Sasuke? She wondered as to why Sasuke was here. Hinata, from what Naruto gathered, is it sort of an admiration thing, but Sasuke she had no clue. Her eyes suddenly widen and she's starting to panic. How often does Hina-chan watch me like that? This is the first time I have realized she is here. Hope she doesn't know about my shape-shifting. She thought was starting to get nervous and scared. Smelling that Sasuke has left, Naruto quickly disappears from sight and reappearing in front of Hinata, scaring her. Hinata gasps, stumbles backwards and falls. Catching her in time before Hinata hits the ground, Naruto asks, "So Hina-chan, how much have you seen and how much do you know?" Looking up to Naruto, Hinata blushes furiously and stutters out something. "Sorry Hina-chan, I can't hear you," Naruto says while releasing Hinata and sitting down along with her. "I said TT that I've only seen you change I into a fox and an eagle. As to what I know it's next to NN nothing. IHH have only seen you TT train from afar WW with my Byakugan, TT this is the CC closest I've been to YYU," Hinata stuttered nervously. She knew if she got closer she might get caught. Naruto sighed relief. "I see, but could you please not tell anyone of my changing ability? I'm not ready to let everyone know just yet," she said. Well, Hinata quickly nodded. As Hinata opened her mouth and was about to ask something, Naruto cut her off. "Sorry Hina-chan, I won't say more, you will learn in time, but for now could you please not ask or saying anything about this to anyone," Naruto said softly and nervously. Hinata nodded slowly and closed her mouth. "Thank you, you're more than welcome to stay and watch if you want," Naruto said with a soft smile and giggling while standing up and going back to train. Really need to do something about her stuttering and lack of self-confidence. She really is just the cutest, Naruto thought while giggling and walking up to the training post. 5 years later. "Boy kid, wake up." Loud snore. "Wake up damn it. HMMPH. Raymond. Damn brat, wake up already." Kyuubi roared at Naruto trying to wake her up. Crash. "Tai. Damn it Kyuubi-chan, that hurt." Naruto whined while holding her head with one eye closed and a tear in the other. "What's with a rude awakening this morning?" she continued whining. "Fine, go back to sleep, it's not like you have the final exam today," Kyuubi said rolling his eyes before pretending to go to sleep. "Final exam? Oh right, today's the final exam," Naruto said while making her bed and heading for the shower. "Ah. Today's the final exam. Naruto realized while running into the shower. Better hurry, you only have an hour, Kyuubi warned. Much has changed with Naruto over the past 5 years. The most recent change is the addition of her fourth tail, to which she has partly figured out that her stamina and chakra capacity doubled, but other than that she is clueless as to what else it did. Naruto is now a 5'5" 12-year-old girl with a well-toned body, her hair now reaches below her bottom and has the second biggest pair of, next to Hinata, but not by much. She is known as a stamina freak that could rival Konoha's mighty green beast, as Iruka put it. Naruto, Shikamaru and Choji became best friends while she became good friends with Shino. Due to spending time with Hinata, Naruto managed to stop her stuttering, though Hinata is still very shy and quiet. Her relationship with Sasuke is more of a rival one where Sasuke challenges her almost twice a week. Due to this, Sakura and Ino have a deep undying passion of hatred towards Naruto, saying that she is the only girl that Sasuke pays attention to and is always with him, even though it's only when he challenges her to a spar. Naruto is now notorious in Konoha for the pranks she pulls, and no matter who chases her, they can never catch her and always disappears out of thin air, earning her the name of Konoha's untouchable prankster. This annoyed Iruka to no end, having to always supervise Naruto when she has to clean up the mess she makes. About 2 years ago, an encounter with Iruka after a prank caused her to not attend class for a month because of the cold hatred-eyed stare he gave her. After a month, Iruka changed for the better, being kinder and stricter in class to her and giving the occasional ramen treat. This greatly cheered up Naruto as she finally had an adult outside Ichiraku and the Hokage that she can trust and considers Iruka the brother she never had. Naruto also come to see Inu-san no Inunai as a brother as well. I'm very happy that I went to Jiji a week ago without the help he gave me. I don't think I would have been able to pass this exam. Naruto thought about how, no matter what she tried, she could not do Bunshin no Jutsu. Flashback 1 week ago. Hey Jiji, Naruto happily greeted while entering the Hokage's office. Naru-chan, it's good to see you again. All is going well at the academy? The Hokage asked, happy to see Naruto again. Hi Jiji, though that's also why I am here. You see, I'm have trouble with the Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto said, looking rather sad. I asked Iruka-sensei for help. He gave me a chakra control exercise to do in which I have to try and stick as many leaves to my body as I can with my chakra, she continued. I'm at the point where I can cover my entire body and do my normal training, and the leaves will stick during the entire time, but for the life of me, I still can't do the Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto said with disappointment. That is rather interesting. Do you mind attempting the jutsu now so I can see where you are going wrong? The Hokage asked, wondering as well as to why Naruto is failing to do the jutsu if she can do the leaf exercise so well. Yeah, sure, Naruto replied and did the jutsu. In a poof, 5 very pale unhealthy toppled over clones appeared around Naruto. The immediate problem that I can see is that you are using way too much chakra for the jutsu, the Hokage said, noting that the amount of chakra used was more than enough for a high-level jutsu, if not too much for that as well. And that's the thing, I'm using as little chakra as I can call upon, she said, sadly looking towards the ground and dispelling the clones. Wow, just how much chakra does she have? If that's the smallest amount, then I think she might even rival a low-tailed bitch, the Hokage thought, astonished with the might of chakra she might have. Well, if that's the case, I assure that you will never be able to do that jutsu, and it will only get worse as you are still growing, he said to the girl. Naruto only got sadder, on the verge of heartbreaking, thinking now that she will never be able to become a ninja. Truth is, it took her almost 4 months to get to the level she is now with the leaf exercise. She has always struggled when it comes to chakra control. Now Naru-chan, no need to be sad, I've got the perfect jutsu for you, the Hokage said, seeing Naruto's almost depressing mood. Naruto instantly brightened up, her hopes building up again, her bright smile making the Hokage chuckle. This jutsu is called the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. This is normally a kinjutsu, as the amount of needed will drain and kill a person who doesn't have enough chakra, so be careful with this jutsu, and you are forbidden to teach anyone this jutsu without my permission, so you may not teach anyone. Do you understand? The Hokage warned and asked, Naruto giving a quick nod. This is how it's done. The hand seal is a crossed or a hand sign with one hand being horizontal and the other vertical, the Hokage told while doing the hand sign and creating a single clone. The difference between this and a normal Bunshin is that it is a solid construct and not an illusion, and very little control is needed. Please note that this jutsu divides your chakra evenly among you and the clones evenly, the Hokage lectured to Naruto. So using the same amount of chakra you used earlier, use that same amount and do the new jutsu I taught you, he asked Naruto. With a nod, Naruto made the hand sign and covered the entire office with smoke. When it cleared, 40 Naruto clones filled the Hokage's office. With wide eyes, the Hokage looked around the room, watching as all the clones Naruto made, squishing each other, trying to find room and space. She made all these clones, and that wasn't her even trying. Naruto, you really are something else, the Hokage thought with pride. All you need to do now is practice this till you are able to make a single clone, he said, earning a nod and wave from Naruto before she bolted out the office. Thanks Gigi, I owe you one, Naruto shouted, running out to go and practice the new jutsu she just learned. Flashback end. The best part about the Cage Bunshin is that my clones can also shape shift like I can, though they can only hold the form for half the time I can. So that should be about 2 days. I also learned how to do the jutsu with a one-handed seal, Naruto thought while running into the class and seeing Iruka walking down the steps to the front of the class. Cutting it close there. Oversleep or something, Shikamaru said with a laugh. Yeah, overslept, glad I got here in time, Naruto sighed while sitting down, waiting to hear what the final exam is going to consist of. So as you know, today is the final exam which will determine if you graduate from the academy. Those that fail will have to wait a year before re-attempting the exam, Iruka lectured with a smile. The exam will consist of 3 parts. Theory exam, practical exam and a ninjutsu exam. You must get full marks for the ninjutsu part to pass regardless of what you get for the first 2 parts. Getting full marks for the ninjutsu part doesn't mean that you will definitely graduate, Iruka said while handing out the paper exam face down. Good luck. You may start, Iruka announced, starting the exam. 3 hours later. Right, now that the theory and practical part are done, we will start the ninjutsu part. If your name is called, please follow me to the next room to conduct the exam. If your name is not called, that means you do not have enough marks to graduate, even if you pass the ninjutsu part, Iruka explained. Abiram Shino. Hi. But please follow me, Iruka said while walking out the class. An hour later. Uzumaki Naruto. Yosh, let's kill this. Naruto exclaimed. Right, please follow me, Iruka said while walking out the class. Following Iruka into the next room when she sees her 2 other senseis sitting behind a desk. Mizuki giving her a hard cold stare as she walks in. Right, Naruto, please perform the Hanyou no Jutsu, Kawarimi no Jutsu, and the Bunshin no Jutsu, asked Iruka. Hi. Naruto responded. Iruka changed into a perfect replica of Iruka, after which she switched positions with chair that was next to her and dispelled Hanyou no Jutsu. Iruka nodded with a smile before writing down her mark. And the Bunshin no Jutsu please, Iruka asked, hoping she could pull it off knowing how she battled with this jutsu. Sensei, I can't do the Bunshin no Jutsu, Gigi even said that it's impossible for me to use it because of the amount of chakra I have, Naruto said while rubbing the back of her head with a small smile. Mizuki grinned at this, now hopefully everything will go as planned, his grin only getting wider at this thought. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, if that's the case then I have to fail you, Iruka said sadly, though surprised to hear that having too much chakra is a reason for not being able to do a jutsu. Don't be sensei. Is it alright if I do another type of Bunshin? Naruto asked, making Mizuki scowl. Why yes, if you are able to then please make at least 3, you might even get extra points for it, Iruka said happily. Naruto nodded and made a half-tiger seal and called out, Cage Bunshin no Jutsu, and 3 Cage Bunshins appeared. Well done on the jutsu, but Naruto, how did you learn this? You do know that this is a kinjutsu? Iruka asked with a raised eyebrow, hoping that this doesn't cause any trouble. Hi, I know that it's a kinjutsu. The one who taught me this was Gigi, Naruto said happily. Iruka signed in relief. Well then it's fine, and all I have to say is well done, you pass and welcome to the ninja life, Genin, Iruka said with a smile full of pride while handing Naruto a blue headband with a metal piece with Konohagakure's symbol on it. Naruto ran to Iruka and hugged him, who happily hugged back after taking the headband on, tying it on her right arm close to her shoulder. Naruto bolted out the room and into the class, and from where Iruka was he could clearly hear Naruto shout, I am Uzumaki Naruto, remember it and remember it well, for I am Konoha's future's best Hokage Databeo. Iruka, shaking his head with a smile, left the room to get the last student. Few minutes later, Iruka walking into the class with a happy-looking Ino. I would like to say well done to everyone and that no one failed. I will be expecting this generation to do great things. For now you have a week's break before team placements will be announced. So please return next week to this classroom normal school time. Until then you are dismissed, Iruka said with pride. Later that evening, soaked from sweat, breathing heavily, Naruto sat under a tree from a hard day of training. This is pant most I have done pant in pant one go, then again, it is the most pant time I have in a day to train like pant this. Going to be a hard week, Naruto said between breaths to herself. It's getting late, the sun is almost down, she said, noticing that it's getting dark quickly. Sniff, 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 but that's blood, Naruto thought while sniffing the air and running to where it's coming from. Sniff, sniff, that's Iruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei, Naruto thought while changing into a fox and increasing her speed to max. Old training ground clearing, Naruto arriving just in time to see Iruka-sensei getting pinned to a small old building by several kunes, comes skidding to a halt. Team, what the hell do you think you are doing? Iruka shouted in pain. Why, just delivering a special package to Orochimaru-sama, Mizuki said with a grin while dropping down from a branch while holding a Fukuma shuriken and slowly walking towards Iruka. Seeing Mizuki drawing back his right hand preparing to throw the oversized shuriken, Naruto quickly makes a Cage Bunshin while the real Naruto shape shifts into a kunai. The clone throws the kunai, wedging it in the ground between Mizuki's feet, stopping him dead in his tracks. As soon as the clone threw the kunai, it dispelled. "But who's there?" Mizuki asked, looking in the direction of where the kunai came from, but finding no one. Even Iruka was confused as to who threw the weapon. Using the distraction, Naruto shape-shifted back into her human form in a crouching position facing Mizuki. Using all her strength that she had left from training all afternoon, Naruto jumped, bringing her right knee up and kneed Mizuki in the chin, lifting him up high into the air. Finishing off, Naruto turned a full 360 before she extended her right foot, kicking Mizuki in his chest, sending him crashing into the tree behind him and toppling it over on top of him. Landing quietly, Naruto growled before turning to see if Iruka is okay. "Iruka-sensei, are you okay? And what's going on here, and why is Mizuka team attacking you?" Naruto asked, trying to figure out what's going on. "And then Naruto? I'm fine, and Mizuki stole a forbidden scroll from the Hokage's office," Iruka replied, confused as to where Naruto came from. "You mean this big thing?" Naruto asked, picking up the scroll next to the unconscious Mizuki. "Yes. What about that team underneath tree?" Iruka asked. Pulling out the kunais from Iruka and setting him down, Naruto replied, "He's just unconscious, though I did feel a few bones cracking when I kicked him earlier." "So Naruto, where did you come from, and why didn't we sense you dispelling the henge?" "Good job on using the henge to disguise yourself as a kunai," Iruka said, impressed. "Well, earlier I smelled blood and followed it here where I saw you being attacked. The reason for not sensing me is because it's not a henge, it's my shape-shifting ability," Naruto said sheepishly while rubbing the back of her head. "Shape-shifting?" asked a confused Iruka. "Yeah, shape-shifting," Naruto repeated while changing into Iruka and back to her normal form. Iruka just stood there, mouth wide open. Quickly recompassing himself, Iruka asked, "Right. So do you want to get some ramen after we report to the Hokage?" "Yada, thank you Iruka-sensei." "Let's go then, what are you waiting for?" Naruto replied happily while jump up and down, making her way back to the village. Laughing while shaking his head, he followed Naruto, dragging a tied up Mizuki and scroll. At Ichiruka's ramen. During the meeting with the Hokage, Naruto and Iruka got the funds for a B rank mission while thanking Naruto for saving Iruka and bring back both the scroll and the trader. "Thanks, Iruka-sensei." Naruto thanked him for the ramen. "Pleasure, but it should be I that needs to thank you. You saved my life back there, so thank you Naruto, you did really well." Iruka proudly thanked her while paying for the ramen. "Naruto, your life from now on will only get harder and more difficult, so make sure to train hard and keep your head about you," Iruka advised while walking out the stand with Naruto. "Hi, I will always give my all. You can count on me," Naruto said with a grin. The next day, sitting in the Hokage's office, Naruto was getting rather impatient. She had been sitting here for half an hour waiting while they completed the forms required to be a full-fledged ninja. But the drop of blood running down his nose, the Hokage looked at the picture Naruto had taken for her ID. The picture was of her biting her finger and winking her eye with her fox ears fully visible. "Naruto, are you sure you want this picture? This is a very important part of becoming a ninja. Once this is done, it can't be redone," he asked, making sure it's what Naruto wanted. Before she could answer, the door to the office opened slightly with a kunai sticking though. Naruto, reacting on instinct, appeared by the door before the door could open anymore. Pulling the door open and grabbing the person and throwing them into the room, making said person to land on the floor face first. Before the person could move, Naruto pounced on the assailant and using one of her tails to binding their hands behind their back while another pinned their head to the ground. Naruto ended the move with placing her left foot on the person's back, keeping him from getting up. The pinned person turned their head to the side to see who the hell pinned them, only to meet hard cold eyes staring into their own. A cold shiver ran down their spine while the assailant started to sweat, fearing for their life. "Naruto, let him go, he means no harm, though I hope this will stop future ambushes, right Konohamaru-kun?" The Hokage sighed at the endless amounts of ambushes he had. "Hi Jiji, just get this lunatic off me," Konohamaru cried while trying to break free. "Jiji?" Naruto asked while releasing Konohamaru. Taking another look, she finally notices that Konohamaru is no more than 6 to 7-year-old kid. "Yes, the old man there is my grandfather, didn't you know this? Do you live under a rock or something?" the boy said while pointing to his grandfather. Naruto's eye twitched furiously. "Oh boy," thought the Hokage, seeing Naruto's eye twitch. "Baka!" Naruto shouted while hitting the boy on the head, knocking him back down to the ground. "What the she actually hit me even after knowing who I am," Konohamaru thought while rubbing his head and standing back up. "What the hell do you think you're doing? You lucky that it was me, anyone else would have not been so forgiving. And I do not live under a rock, it's a tree sometimes," Naruto shouted back, glaring at the brat but mumbling the last part. Before Konohamaru could say anything, a man wearing spectacles, a bandana with the village's symbol on it with a long black sleeved shirt and black long pants with black shinobi sandals, came running into the room. "Honorable grandson," shouted the man. "Ibisu-sensei," Konohamaru replied. Ibisu looked at Naruto with cold eyes. "Honorable grandson, what are you doing here, especially with that person?" he asked in an emotionless voice. Naruto, not paying mind to the insult, left the room knowing that her business here is done. "Cheers, Gigi," she said, walking out the door. Half an hour later, "Is this kid going to follow me the whole time now?" Naruto wondered, half annoyed. "Boy Chibi, come on out, I know you have been following me since I left Gigi's office," Naruto said, tapping her foot while folding her arms. Dropping the cloth disguise, Konohamaru shouted to Naruto, "Oi, don't call me that," which only earned a grin of her. "That's what I expect of boss, being able to detect me from so early on," Konohamaru said with a grin, point towards his boss. "Boss?" Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. "Yes, so now that you're my boss, train me," he stated. "Do you want me to train you?" Naruto asked. Konohamaru quickly nodded back. "I won't train you until you can run 5 laps around this village," Naruto said firmly. And so Konohamaru saluted and started heading to the village outskirts to do as told. Wow, he didn't complain. I honestly expected him to moan and groan or something, not just salute and leave. Naruto deadpan, a bit unimpressed and impressed at the same time at the lack of complaint. Later that night in the seal, "Hey Kik-chan, I finally become a full-fledged ninja, documents and all," Naruto said happily while walking into the cage and sitting against a laying fox. "Well done, Kit, though you did hold back a lot during the practical part of the exam," Kyuubi congratulated her. "I didn't want to show my full strength, and besides that could have killed someone seeing as they made us fight each other," she replied. "True. Do you remember the question you asked wanting to know my name?" Kyuubi asked while looking down to Naruto. Naruto looked back at Kyuubi and raised an eyebrow before nodding slowly saying, "Yes, I do. I am willing to tell you what it is if you still wish to know," Kyuubi said. Knowing that this is a sign of friendship and trust, as demons only give names to those who they deem worthy and trust. Naruto smiled brightly with her tails waved happily in random directions. "Yes please, I still do wish to know your name," Naruto said in loving voice. Kyuubi sat up facing towards Naruto and smiled while holding a fist down to her. "Name's Kurama, and just so you know, you are the second human, or rather first Hanyou, to know my name," Kyuubi said with a grin. Making a fist and connecting it with Kurama's, Naruto smiles while a tear runs down her eye. "Thank you Kurama, this means a lot to me," Naruto thanks softly. "Go on, get some rest, you have a hard week ahead of you, and starting tomorrow you are going to increase the weights to 65 kilograms, including the wrist and ankle weights," Kurama said with an evil grin at the training he is going to put her through. The slightly pale Naruto left the seal, the grin downright scaring her. "Hey Shika, who do you want to be with?" Naruto said, sitting at her usual spot at the back of the class. "Honestly, I would be fine with anyone, though would prefer you, Chaoji and myself. Though I know it's not going to happen. They're no doubt going to keep the Ino-Shika-Chao combo together," Shikamaru said back lazily. While Naruto and Shikamaru were thinking about who is going to be on whose team, Iruka was bussing, giving a speech about how their life is only going to get more difficult from here on, and the regular speech about the will of fire that everyone has. Now for the team placements. Each team will consist of 3 genin and 1 jnin instructor. You cannot swap with others, the team you are put in is the team you will remain in, Iruka said to the class, knowing that some are not going to be happy with the selections. His statement was more for the group fangirls that won't be placed with a certain Uchiha. Team 1, few teams later, Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura. "Why do I get the fangirl?" Naruto cried with tears running down her face. "Great, I get the Uchiha's bitch," Sakura said sadly, dropping her head on the desk. "Boy, come say that to my face, forehead slut." Naruto shot back while standing and placing one foot on the desk. "Huh? What did you say?" Sakura stood up facing Naruto, making Shikamaru move back slightly and grumbling something about troublesome women. Before the situation got out of hand, Iruka shouted using his famous big head jutsu, "Sit down. And keep quiet." Naruto just scoffed and sit back down, while Sakura nodded furiously before keeping quiet and sitting down. "As I was saying, Team 7 consists of Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke," Iruka repeated. "Narm. Take that, Ino Buta," shouted while pointing to Ino sitting next to her. Ino cried for a few seconds before turning back on Sakura. "At least I don't get the Uchiha's bitch on my team, forehead." Iruka's sweat dropped at the verbal brawl. Naruto's eye twitched dangerously. Seeing that Naruto was about to possibly kill someone, Iruka said the names for the next team. Team 8. Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino and Inyazuka Kiba, Iruka said, happy that it defused the situation a bit. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10. Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru and Akimichi Chaoji, Iruka said, finished calling out the teams. Ino cried again for the second time, whining something about life being unfair, while Sakura tried to comfort her by saying how right she was, but the Uchiha on her team made up for it. Ino only cried more. "You are all dismissed till after lunch, where you will meet your Jumnin senseis," Iruka dismissed the class. 3 hours after lunch ended. "Ah! Where the hell is this guy?" Naruto shouted, getting very annoyed, pacing around the room. She wasn't the most patient type. Sakura was agreeing with Naruto, and so was Sasuke, but wasn't showing it. That's it, he asked for this. Naruto said, grabbing the board duster. Naruto placed it in between the door so when it opened it would fall. Boy Baka, what are you doing? Sakura asked while her inner self was starting to like this girl. What he deserves, Naruto scoffed back. Being so annoyed, Naruto didn't end it there. She made a clone and made it change into a large hammer using the Henge no Jutsu. This surprised both Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto, what is a clone going to do? It's not like it can do anything, Sakura stated, confused as to what Naruto was doing. It's a cage bunshin, it's not the same as a normal bunshin, Naruto replied while placing the hammer above the door parallel to the floor. There, this is going to good, Naruto said with a devilish laugh. What is she doing? Surely she knows that won't work on an elite Chunin. Sasuke thought. Few minutes later the door opened. As a head appeared through the door, the board duster hit the person on the head, followed by the hammer swinging downwards, hitting him in the face and making him stumble backwards. It actually worked. I don't believe it. Sasuke thought with wide eyes. Ah. Great work, Naruto. Sakura's inner self shouted. Walking back into the class, the man's eye twitching, he was expecting the duster, but not the hammer. Naruto was rolling on the floor on the verge of pissing herself, she was laughing so hard. The man that walked in had grey, slightly spiky hair that stood up. His headband was angled so that it covered his left eye. A black mask covered his face from the middle of his nose downwards, which blended into the long-sleeved black shirt he was wearing with a green sleeveless utility jacket that all Chuknins and Jumnins got. He had black fingerless gloves with a metal piece on the back of the glove. He also wore black long pants with a bandage on his right thigh to hold a kunai pouch and wore black shinobi sandals. So she was the one that pulled the prank. Damn brat. The man thought while his eye was still twitching. Well, to be blunt, I hate you. Meet me on the roof, he said, disappearing in a poof of smoking. On the roof, Naruto got to the roof way ahead of the others as she bolted to the roof. Walking up to the man sitting on the railing reading an orange book. Naruto took a few sniffs before her eyes went wide, remembering the scent she got familiar with very quickly. Inunai-san? Naruto asked quietly. Inu responded with an eye smile and a nod. Inunai-san? Naruto said loudly, hugging him. Hi, it's me though, that's my Anbu name. My actual name is Kakashi, Kakashi said while rubbing the top of her head. Kakashi? Naruto repeated, looking up to him, in which Kakashi nodded to her. While still hugging, Sakura and Sasuke arrived, seeing Naruto now hugging the man she just pulled a prank on. Curiosity got the better of Sasuke, so he asked, Naruto, why you hugging him? Letting go and turning to Sasuke with a blush on her face, Naruto responded, I only recognized who he was when I got here, while rubbing the back of her head, the blush still visible on her face. Do you know him? Sasuke asked, still a bit confused and curious. Before she could respond, Kakashi cleared his thought, getting everyone's attention. Right, you can continue this later, for now sit down there on the steps and we can get the introduction started, Kakashi said, stopping the conversation. Sitting down next to Sasuke and Naruto on the other side, Sakura asked, introductions? Yes, so now introduce yourselves, say your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies and dream, Kakashi ordered. Could you do it first please? Sakura asked. My name is Hada Kakashi. As for my likes and dislikes, I have no intention of telling you. I have certain hobbies, and for a dream. Seems like I don't have one, Kakashi introduced himself. All three sweat dropped at the introduction. We only learned his name, they all thought at the same time. So who is next? Kakashi asked. Naruto quickly put her hand up. Me pick me. She exclaimed. Kakashi nodding to her with an eye smile. All three wondered how he did that with his eye. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like hunting, training and ramen. I hate the 3 minutes it takes to wait for the ramen to cook and keeping secrets between friends. I also hate fangirls, Naruto said, turning to Sakura, who just glared back. At least I won't have to worry about Naru-chan being a fangirl, Kakashi thought. Before I continue, seeing as we are going to be a team, I don't want to hide and keep secrets, so I have something to show you, Naruto stated nervously and looking to Kakashi to see if she was doing the right thing. Naruto, it's your choice whether or not to reveal your additional features. Though your other secret has to remain a secret until you have at least entered the Chunin exams once, so it will have to hold off till then, Kakashi said to her, giving the go-ahead on one of the secrets. Secret? Sakura said while Sasuke thought the same thing, raising an eyebrow. Yay, so please don't freak out, though we'll understand if you wish to avoid me afterwards, Naruto said quietly while she looked at her feet. Pulling the ribbons, letting her hair down, showing her fox ears and unwrapping her 4 tails from around her waist, letting them move from side to side freely. Sasuke went wide-eyed and blushed a bit while Sakura just scoffed. And here I thought it was something serious, but you reveal that you are into cosplay. So what, it's not like it's going to get Sasuke to like you anymore, Sakura said, unimpressed. Sakura, it's not cosplay, they're real. I'm a Hanyou, Naruto said, a bit sad at what Sakura said. Hanyou? Both Sakura and Sasuke asked. Yes, Hanyou. Half human half demon, she replied looking back at her feet hiding her expression. Naruto was already having a hard time revealing this in fear of what they might think, and Sakura didn't help with her comment. Sakura, eyes wide, looked at Naruto noticing that the ears and tails were moving too naturally to be a costume or a henge no jutsu. Sakura looked at Kakashi who only nodded. Normally this is an S-class secret punishable by death. Only Naruto is allowed to reveal this, so you are not to say anything about this unless Naruto says so, Kakashi warned sternly making Sakura and Sasuke sweat a bit. I'm sorry Naruto, I didn't know. It's just that it's not something you normally see every day, Sakura apologized. It's fine Sakura, thank you. I guess because I'm so used to it that I forget that it's not a normal human thing to have, Naruto said softly while tying her hair in ponytail. So you guys don't hate me? She asked looking at Sakura and Sasuke trying to see what they think. No, it doesn't change anything. I actually think it's rather cute, Sakura said while blushing. Naruto shortly followed blushing herself. Though I still hate you for taking all of Sasuke's attention from me, Sakura said playfully sticking her tongue out at Naruto. Naruto just smiled at Sakura before turning to Sasuke. Sasuke? Naruto asked softly, but the blush and looking away Sasuke said, I don't care what you are. You are still you though, can you explain this or what? I would, but it would require me to reveal my other secret, which it looks like I can't tell it after we enter the Chunin exams, Naruto replied. Sasuke nodded back while Sakura wasn't sure what kind of other secret Naruto still has, especially after revealing this kind of secret. So now that's over, I can continue. My hobbies are hunting, pranks and training. My dream is to become the best Hokage the world has ever seen, so the village will accept me for me. Naruto said happily with a great deal of pride and confidence in her voice. Even after everything she has been through and what the villages have done, she still wishes to get them to see her as Naruto and not the Kyuubi and wishes to protect this village. A good strong dream she has, Kakashi thought. Good. Next. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like glances at Sasuke and my dream is glances at Sasuke. I hate Ino Buta and Baka Naruto, said Sakura. Oh no, not a fangirl. Please help me. Kakashi cried his thoughts, hoping that he could somehow get rid of her or somehow stop her from being a fangirl. Next. Uchiha Sasuke. Have a few likes and dislikes. My dream, no rather my goal is to kill a certain man and rebuild my clan, Sasuke said emotionlessly. So he is driven by hate and wants to kill his brother. Not good, he is still young, so there may be a chance to save him. Hope you will help Naruto, Kakashi thought while glancing between Sasuke and Naruto. So he hasn't taken heed to my words. He wishes to kill Taki-san. Hope he won't lose himself in this goal of his, Naruto thought looking at the would-be killer. Sasuke wants to rebuild his clan. So does that mean he is looking of love? Sakura thought with a deep blush while her inner self celebrated and cheered her on. Tomorrow we start our survival training, so be at training ground 7 tomorrow at 0500 hours, Kakashi ordered. Survival training? Sakura asked. Like I need that, what do you think I've been doing my whole life? Naruto said crossing her arms. Not that kind of survival training. This is one that will determine whether you will remain as a genin or get sent back to the academy. This training has 66% pass rate, so that means only 9 of you will remain genin, Kakashi stated with a laugh. What? All three shouted. What about the graduation test, what was that for then? Sakura asked. That was to see who had the potential to become genin. Tomorrow is the real test. So come prepared tomorrow. Oh, and don't eat, you will throw up, Kakashi said before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. I really need to learn that, Naruto said in awe at the move. Boy Naruto, you seem to know him, is he telling us the truth or is he pulling our legs? Sasuke asked. I am honestly not sure though, I don't see why he would lie to use. Well, we'll have to just wait and see, Naruto answered. Speaking of which, how do you know him? Asked Sasuke, restarting the conversation about how she knew him. Sakura also perked up interested in this. Sasuke, as I told you, the village thinks I'm the Kyuubi reborn. Because of this I was kicked out of the orphanage when I was 4 and had to live on my own. During this time Kakashi Nai was in the Anbu and was one of the guards assigned to me to stop the villagers from doing anything stupid, though they still did things, it did help to tone it down, she continued. I also couldn't buy anything as I was kicked out of all the stores. That's when Kakashi Nai offered to buy clothes and other things for me, Naruto finished. Naruto, why does the village think you're the Kyuubi reborn? Sure, your features don't help. And I'm sure you're over-exaggerating about the whole village hating you, Sakura said, not believing an entire village could hate one person. It's the truth, Sakura, until halfway into my academy life I could count the number of people who didn't hate or ignore my existence on my hands, and before I got my home, I could count them all on one hand, Naruto said softly but loud enough to be heard. Sakura went wide-eyed, how could this village do something like that, and how on earth was Naruto still so pure and good-hearted? Sakura didn't know, she is sure she would have snapped or broken down. As to why they think I'm Kyuubi reborn. Sakura, do you know what day my birthday is? Naruto asked. Sakura looked down and shook her head. It's the 10th of October. I'm turning 13 this year. 13? That means that you were, Sakura said but didn't finish. Yes, I was born on the day Kyuubi attacked, Naruto finished the sentence. I don't know what to say, Sakura said softly, almost in tears. You don't need to say anything, Sakura, it's fine and I'm fine, Naruto answered. What I don't understand is, fine, you were born on that day, but I don't why they would see you as Kyuubi. Are the villagers really that stupid or something? Sasuke finally spoke up, asking Naruto something he couldn't understand. I would like to think so, but this is what hatred drives people towards them, clouding their own judgment and the need to place blame on something or someone to try rid themselves of their hatred, Naruto replied. So I hope you see, Sasuke, what hatred can lead to, and the path you're going on is something one should never travel. I'm not saying don't get revenge, just don't let it consume your life. It's not worth the pain and suffering, Naruto told Sasuke, hoping it would stop him from walking down a dark and lonely path. Sasuke didn't say anything and just got up and left. Leaving a confused Sakura. Naruto was shaking her head at Sasuke. Next morning, 5 a.m. Oh hey. Naruto greeted loudly to the slowly approaching Sasuke and a very tired-looking Sakura. OHAYOU, Sakura replied tiredly, while Sasuke just grunted, though he looked just as bad as Sakura. What's wrong with you guys, didn't sleep well or something? Naruto asked, a bit too loud for some not so happy looking people. Naruto, you're too loud, quiet down will you, moaned Sakura. How you so energetic this early in the morning? Asked Sakura, who was a little jealous at the wide-awake Naruto. Sasuke was thinking along the same lines as Sakura. What do you mean I always wake up an hour before now? If I don't I won't have time to hunt, Naruto replied like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Hunt what? Sakura asked, confused. Food and pelts, what else do you hunt for? Naruto asked, still like it was supposed to be obvious, while pointing to the deer hanging upside down on a tree branch, letting it drain out all the blood inside it. Both Sasuke and Sakura followed Naruto's finger to see the dead deer hanging upside down. Naruto, what hell did you do to the poor thing? Sakura shouted, shocked to see the thing hanging like it was. I killed it. How else am I supposed to eat? And it's like that so I don't ruin the pelt when I skin it, Naruto replied, still oblivious. What, you gonna eat it? I didn't know you could cook, Sakura said, impressed that Naruto could cook already, forgetting about the part of Naruto living alone. Cook? Why would I do that? That only wastes time and energy getting wood for a fire, she said back. Well, how else do you eat it? You have to cook it first before you can eat it, Sakura asked, hoping that Naruto doesn't do what she thinks she does. No, I don't, I just eat it as is, and besides it tastes better raw, Naruto stated in a matter-of-fact tone. Sakura would have lost her breakfast and super if she had bothered to eat either. Naruto, that's gross, really gross, if you ever do that, well, I'm near you are going to regret it, Sakura said, trying to suppress her gagging. Sasuke was also disturbed by this revelation. Well, it was a good idea to hunt for your own food, as it saves money and helps to train you a bit, but the idea of eating raw meat was not a good idea. How can you eat like that? Isn't bad for you? Sasuke asked. Oh right, I forgot humans can't eat the things I can. I can eat pretty much anything, including the things that would normally kill a human, Naruto said, forgetting about her different food allowance intake. Sasuke and Sakura both didn't want to think about the things Naruto could possibly wolf down. 3 hours later, please don't tell me that this is going to be a regular occurrence, cause I'm going to get really annoyed if it is, Naruto groaned with great annoyance. For once I agree with you, yesterday was bad, but this is ridiculous, honestly what the hell is he doing? Sakura replied, just as annoyed. The three of them found a tree to sit under after the first hour had passed and have been sitting there bored out of the minds for the past 2 hours. Well, I'm going to find something to do, can't skin my catch, yet still needs another day or so to drain, Naruto said, getting up, going to find something to do. Sakura started gagging again at the thought of Naruto skinning the deer. Before Naruto could get out from the tree's shade, Kakashi appeared in a poof of smoke. Both Naruto and Sakura got a tick mark on their forehead and their eyes started twitching. Yo, Kakashi greeted, waving one hand while still reading that orange book of his. This really ticked off Naruto and Sakura, even Sasuke was showing his annoyance on his face. You're late. Both girls shouted, making Kakashi and Sasuke hold their ears at the almost screech-like shout. Well, I got lost on the road of life, and when I finally found the correct pathway, a black cat walked across my path, so I had to turn. You Satsuki. Both girls shouted at the more than blatant lie. If you're going to lie, at least make it believable, both girls thought at the same time. Hi, Kakashi said, still not looking up from his book. Putting the book away and pulling out 2 bells from his back pouch, Kakashi began to explain what they had to do. You are to try and take these bells from me. Those that do not get a bell will be tied to the post while I eat my lunch in front of you. Those that get tied to the post will be sent back to the academy, Kakashi stated in a tone that scared all 3 would-be genin. But sensei, there are only 2 bells, Sakura said, noting the 2 bells and the 3 of them. Well noticed. That means only 2 can pass, but also means that all of you can fail, Kakashi replied. If you wish to get these bells, come at me with the intent to kill. You have until noon. Begin, Kakashi said, starting the survival training. But that all 3 disappeared. With Naruto hiding behind some leaves while standing on a branch in a tree, Naruto tried to come up with a plan to capture the bells. How do I get the bells? I know I'm strong and fast, but I don't know how I compare to Kakashi Nai. I doubt I will be able to get the bells from him even if I go all out. Surely he knows that we can't go against him. Our own Naruto's eye widened. I don't think the point in this is to do it alone, there is no way we can get the bells alone. I need to find Sasuke, I have a plan, but I need him and Sakura, hopefully Sasuke can get Sakura to help. I doubt she will listen to me, Naruto thought while coming up with a plan. Few minutes later with Sasuke. Sasuke, Naruto called out softly. Naruto, what are you doing here? Do you want us to get caught? Sasuke asked, annoyed that his position might be compromised. No. Listen, I need your help to get the bells. I'm pretty sure I can't get them on my own, Naruto asked Sasuke. I don't need you, are you that pathetic that you can't get them on your own? Sasuke mocked back. Sasuke, we don't have time for this, there is no way you can do it by yourself, and I already have a plan, I just need you and Sakura, Naruto shot back. No, you will only slow me down, I can do this now, get lost, Sasuke said, getting annoyed. Fine, how about we have a bet, if you can't get the bell after one encounter, then you will help me, Naruto said, trying to get Sasuke to listen. And if I do, then what? Sasuke asked. I don't know, be a slave for a week, shave off all my fur, I don't know, you come up with it. Not really the point is you won't get the bell, you might come close but will still fail, Naruto replied, rolling her eyes. HMMPH, fine, I will take your bet, Sasuke scoffed. Seeing Kakashi appearing, Sasuke sprang into action. Sasuke started by throwing a handful shuriken, hoping to distract him so he could get in close. Sasuke managed to get in close after Kakashi dodged the shurikens. Throwing a left punch that overextended a bit. Kakashi took advantage of this and moved his head to right while using his right hand to catch Sasuke's left hand by the wrist, immobilizing it. Sasuke then rotated his whole body so his feet were in the air and brought his right foot down in a reverse axe kick. Using his remaining left hand, Kakashi brought it up to intercept the kick and caught it when it was a few inches away from his head. Sasuke then used his right hand to reach out towards the bell. When his finger just grazed the bell, Kakashi jumped back a bit, letting Sasuke go before giving him a Sparta kick to his chest, sending him fly towards a tree. Just before Sasuke reached the tree, he set his body parallel with the ground, facing towards the sky. When he hit the tree, he spun so he was facing down before somersaulting off the tree. During the flip, Sasuke ran through 5 hand seals before ending on the last 6th seal. Kakashi recognized the seal being the Tora hand seal, his eyes widened. No genin should have enough chakra for a Kaiten jutsu, Kakashi thought, before going through the hand seals needed for a Kawarimi. He flipped through them so fast that it looked like his hands remained by his sides. As soon as Sasuke landed, he activated his jutsu, sending out a large fireball while thinking Kaiten. Kankakik no jutsu. Happy that he hit his target, he smirked. When the dust cleared, all that remained was a crater the size of the fireball that he launched. Looking around for Kakashi, Sasuke scowled, getting annoyed with himself. Maybe Naruto was right, we might have to work together. As he finished his train of thought, he felt something grabbing his foot. Looking down, he saw a hand. Before he could jump, he was pulled into the ground and Kakashi jumped up and landed in front of him. Looking down at Sasuke, he gave an eye smile. Oten. Shinju's Anshu no Jutsu, Kakashi said while pulling out his orange book. Do you really think you could beat me alone? Kakashi asked. The others will only slow me down, I'm nothing like them, Sasuke grunted and glared up at Kakashi. You're right, you are nothing like the other two. You are by all means better than Sakura and you can even use a Kaiten jutsu, Kakashi stated, and Sasuke smirked in return. Naruto, on the other hand. You are nowhere near her level, she could honestly give me and Guy a run for our money, she would still lose, but that's no doubt due to experience she sorely lacks, Kakashi continued. You would slow her down, not the other way around, Kakashi said before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Dropping down from her hiding spot, Naruto was laughing hard at Sasuke. Sasuke lost his smirk and grunted again while glaring at Naruto. See, I told you, now you have to help me, Naruto said while grabbing Sasuke's head and pulling him out of the ground. Sasuke quickly wondered how much strength Naruto has, as she just lifted him up like was nothing. Thud. Both Sasuke and Naruto turned to the sound only to see an unconscious Sakura. Sakura? Naruto said, confused as to what Sakura was doing. Well, at least I don't have to go and find her, Naruto said, walking to her to walk her up. Now that you are awake, here is the plan. With Kakashi standing back by the posts, Kakashi was starting to doubt they would attack him now. Sasuke was beaten while Naruto just watched, and Sakura fell pretty easily to a Jinjutsu. Suddenly he heard multiply whistling-like sounds. Know what it was? He turned towards the sound only to see Sakura of all people standing in an after-throwing stance. Leaping back to dodge the shuriken, wondering what Sakura was doing. Sensing someone use a jutsu behind him, he turned and saw Sasuke flying towards him at high speeds, too fast for it to be Sasuke's doing. Looking behind him, he saw Naruto with a big smirk on her face, also standing in a throwing position. So using her strength she threw Sasuke. At that speed, that must be some arm she's got there, Kakashi thought. Reacting quickly, Kakashi using both hands grabbed Sasuke's arm that he used to punch. Before Kakashi could start to spin so he could throw him back, he let go of Sasuke due to the smirk that appeared on his. Before Kakashi could blink and get away from out of nowhere, Naruto appeared standing on Sasuke's arm. Eyes wide, Kakashi noticed that the Sasuke's ninja headband that was on his arm is no longer there. Damn, I completely forgot about Naruto's weird changing ability, though I have only seen her changing to different animals, not objects. What else can she do? Kakashi thought, wondering just what Naruto was capable of. Using her tails, Naruto wrapped one around his neck, one around his left arm and another one around his right arm. While her tails around his arms pulled them apart, Naruto reached and threw a kunai. The kunai met its target, cutting the strings holding the bells to Kakashi's belt, and the Naruto that threw the kunai poofed out of existence. Kakashi followed the kunai and watched it cut the strings on the bells before he saw it shift and contort like he had seen Naruto so many times when she changed form with that weird ability of hers. Naruto landed in a crouched position with her right knee on the ground and left knee pressed against her chest with Kakashi to her right. Her right hand held above her shoulder. Kakashi could see two pieces of string leading into her fist. Spinning around clockwise with her right foot extended, Naruto tried to sweep Kakashi's feet from under him. Kakashi jumped over her foot, but before he could land it, Naruto used her momentum to carry on spinning, but raising her left foot this time as well and extending her left foot so she did the splits. Connecting into Kakashi's ribs, sending him flying to the side. Still spinning, but now so that she is doing a handstand while her legs still parallel with the ground doing the splits. Naruto bent her arms and pushed herself off the ground. Doing several backflips before landing on her feet without a sound, she landed in front of Sasuke and Sakura. Kakashi stood up while holding his left side. Remind me not to get hit by her again. She hits almost as hard as a certain gambling medic, he thought while out there somewhere a gambling medic sneezed, wondering who was talking about her. Walking to the trio, Kakashi saw Naruto standing there with her biggest grin yet, with her right hand extended outwards with two bells swing from side to side below her fist. Well done, that was some brilliant teamwork. And well done on that sneak attack, Naruto, it got me by complete surprise, Kakashi said proudly with his eye smile, though still holding his side. Naruto's grin got even wider. Kakashi, wondering how that was possible, turned to the other genin to see they all had a grin on their face. Now comes the tough part. Who gets the bells and who gets tied to the log? Kakashi asked, shocking Sasuke and Sakura, though Naruto still had a grin. Kakashi, if one of us fails we all fail. Naruto said proudly while Sakura turned to face Naruto, surprised by the statement. Is that true? He asked. Both returned the question with a nod and a yes. Well then, I have one thing left to say. You failed. All three were shocked out of their minds, too shocked to respond. You failed to fall into the trap that everyone I have tested in the past has fallen into. Well done, we are now official Team 7. Congratulations, I am proud to be your sensei, Kakashi said with pride. Huh? Was Naruto's intelligent reply while the others were still too confused as to what was going on. Well done, you passed the survival training, you are now official Konoha ninja, Kakashi repeated. Okay, then what was that bit about failing something earlier? Sakura asked, finally coming out for her stupor state. Everyone else has failed to understand what makes us Konoha shinobi. Teamwork is what Konoha shinobi are all about. There is a saying. Those who abandon missions are considered trash. But those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash, Kakashi said, remembering some painful past times. All three were surprised to hear this, and Naruto more so than the others took these words to heart and silently vowed to never abandon her friends no matter what, not even death would stop her. Yada. We passed. Naruto said, bouncing on her feet, making Rest smile at her. Tomorrow is where the real missions start. Report back here tomorrow at 0700 hours and don't be late, Kakashi ordered. You're the one to talk. Both Naruto and Sakura shouted at Kakashi for telling them not to be late. With an eye smile, Kakashi disappeared once again in a swirl of leaves. You're late. Screamed Sakura. Yeah, so? I don't see the problem, sensei isn't even here yet, Naruto deadpanned. Sakura, you changed your look. You should keep it that way, makes you look prettier, Naruto said, noticing Sakura's new attire. Sakura is now wearing a tight pink sleeveless jacket that stops just above her belly button. Black fingerless gloves that reach the middle for her forearm. Black tight pants where the left ends below her knee and the right above the knee, and her normal blue shinobi sandals. Her pink hair is still the same, which reaches just below her shoulder blades, using her ninja headband as a ribbon to keep her hair up, exposing her forehead with a single braid on each side of her face that reached just past her green eyes. Oh, thank you, Sakura thanked with a blush on her face. I see you've changed your hairstyle. Are you not hiding your features anymore? Sakura asked, noticing that she can see Naruto's ears and her tails waving about behind her. Naruto is still dressed in her normal attire, long-sleeved tight black shirt and long black tight pants with black slim tight boots, so it looks like the pants and boots are one piece. An orange sleeveless jacket, same design as Yuruchi from Bleach, over her shit, and a pair of cloth-looking wrist weights that go halfway up her forearm and ankle weights that reach just past the middle of her calves. Her hair is now in a ponytail which reaches just above where her tails start. Sasuke still wears a blue short-sleeved shirt with white short pants and blue shinobi sandals, but is now also wearing an orange small school bag on his back. Yep, I have no need to hide them, and I'm not ashamed of them anymore, Naruto replied back. Yo, Kakashi greeted while still reading the same orange book. Sakura and Naruto didn't say anything this time, but their eyes were twitching dangerously. Naruto, deciding to see what book Kakashi is reading, walks up to him and reads the front cover. Note the front of the book is the back of the book for us. It's a paradise. Naruto read aloud. Both Sasuke and Sakura got close to see as well. Moving so Naruto could read the contents, she read the first line out loud. And so, with a final thrust between the valley of her glorious sweat-covered beasts, he releases his essence, covering her face and chest. Both Naruto and Sakura's face went completely red and looked towards the ground, while Sasuke had a deep blush on his face. Steam could be seen coming from the girl's ears, they were blushing so hard. Hentai. Both Naruto and Sakura shouted, disturbed by what Kakashi was reading. Don't read that in public. They continued shouting, their faces still red enough that a tomato looked pale in comparison. What? It's good literature, and besides, I don't go snooping in the things you read, Kakashi replied back, still reading the book, while one hand rubbed his ear from all the shouting. Faces still red, both girls looked away from Kakashi while fiddling with their shirts, too embarrassed to say anything else. Kurama was thinking along the lines of, this guy has good tastes, I'm starting to like this guy, and of course Naruto heard this, and her face got an even deeper shade of red. Right now we need to report to the Hokage for our first mission, Kakashi ordered, getting the trio to follow him, though the girls still had a blush on their face when they arrived to get their first mission. Over the course of the next month, Team 7 were subjected to the lovely time of doing D-ranked missions. These missions remain in the village and consisted of a wide variety of tasks to do. Team 7 did missions from walking dogs to babysitting at the orphanage to weeding farm fields to the mission that they are now doing for the they've lost count number of times, which is to catch the infamous cat known as Tora, the runaway cat. Deciding that she has now had enough, Naruto shape-shifted into a fox and charged for the cat at full speed. The cat had no clue as to what happened. 1 minute she was running trying to escape the kids chasing her, then the next she was in the clutches of a very pissed off fox. Hanging upside down, the cat had all 4 legs bound together by one of Naruto's tails. Naruto shifting back into her human from still holding the cat, Naruto growled deeply and aggressively at the cat, scaring the piss out of it literally, as there was a trail of wet marks that followed the cat. Walking up to her team with one final growl, Naruto turned to Kakashi. Mission complete, she said in an irritated voice. The last time they did this mission, Naruto's face looked like a bunch of kids played tic-tac-toe on her face. Well done, but don't you think that was a bit much? Kakashi asked, hoping the cat isn't traumatized for life. No, she will get over it, decided what she deserves, especially after the last time we did this mission, Naruto said. Hokage's office. When Team 7 walked into the office, Naruto let the cat go, which bolted back to its owner, which surprised all the people in the office except for Team 7, as the cat normally runs away from the owner. Mission completed. I don't think anyone will have to bother with this mission for quite some time, Kakashi reported while the client paid for the mission and walked out the room. Right, now your next set of missions. Babysitting at the orphanage, helping a woodcutter deliver his load, Iruka said, but was cut off by Naruto. No, not a chance in hell. Not doing it. Gigi, please give us something more, I don't know, more ninja-orientated, Naruto said, shaking her head and arms. Whack. Naruto, pay some respect, this is the Hokage you're talking to. The Hokage. Sakura scolded Naruto by hitting her on the head. Tai. Sakura, what was that for? Besides, aren't you tired of doing these missions? Naruto asked while rubbing her head and looking up to Sakura. I did that because you need to respect the Hokage. I may be tired of these missions, but it isn't for us to decide, Sakura lectured. She is right, you are still rookie genin who need experience. There is a system to follow here and it's there for a reason, Iruka said, confirming what Sakura had said. There are 4 ranks A, B, C and D rank missions. Genins are eligible to do A and B ranked missions. Chiknins are eligible for B and C ranked missions. Genin are eligible for C and D ranked missions. Rookie genins are not yet ready for C-rank missions, Iruka explained the system they use. But how are we supposed to get experience while we stuck doing these crappy missions? Naruto asked. I am for one with Naruto on this, Sasuke said agreeing with Naruto. You are? Naruto replied surprised by Sasuke's support. These missions are only holding us back, you don't know what we are capable of, we can handle a C-rank mission, Sasuke continued. The Hokage looked towards Kakashi, so do you think they are ready Kakashi? The Hokage asked. Hi, I think they are more than ready. I agree in that these missions are only holding them back, Kakashi responded. Naruto looked at Kakashi with a big smile, Sasuke had a smirk on his face, while Sakura didn't look too happy about things starting to level up a bit. Well then we will give you a simple C-rank mission. Send him in please, the Hokage ordered. Yada, so what do we have to do, escort someone like a prince or princess, or do we get to save them? Naruto asked excitedly. The door opened and an old man walked through, he had a straw hat tied around his neck. A grey sleeveless shirt, light brown pants and sandals. In his hand was a bottle of sake. The old man's face was flushed, and Naruto had to hold her nose to stop a strong stench of alcohol on him, it came close to making her nauseous. Boy, these are just kids, they can't protect me, especially the cosplay chick over there, he said, not impressed with what he is getting. Twitch, I'll kill you. And it's not cosplay, they're real. Naruto shouted, slowly moving to kill the man. It took Kakashi, Sasuke and Iruka to stop her, though she was still edging closer to the client despite having 3 people trying to hold her down. How much strength does she have? It's taking all 3 of us, and we're only slowing her down, all 3 people that were trying to hold her down thought. Baka. You're not supposed to kill the client, it's counterproductive. Besides, you asked for a C-rank mission, Kakashi warned while Naruto pouted and crossed her arms. Though sir, it's advised you don't piss off the people you're trying to hire, Kakashi said sternly, not liking the idea of clients talking his team down. I assure you these 3 are no doubt the best of their age. Sakura got the highest mark, along with Naruto among the females. Sasuke got the #1 rookie title, and Naruto I'm sure is very close to holding the strongest physical ninja title in our village, soon to rival Tsunadeheim no doubt, Kakashi reassured the client. If anything does get out of hand I will be stepping in, he continued. Assemble by the north gate in 2 hours, pack for a month trip. Dismissed, Kakashi ordered. 2 hours late at the north entrance. While they were waiting for the client to arrive, Kakashi explained the mission. Our mission is to escort the client east to Nami no Kuni and guard him from bandits until he has completed building a bridge, Kakashi debriefed the team. Naruto, you will take point as you know the land well and have the best senses out of all of us. Sasuke and Sakura will take the flanks, Sasuke on the left, Sakura right side. I will take the rear, not that rear you damn pervs, though it's Kakashi, so I don't blame you. Said Kakashi giving out the formation plan. As Kakashi finished, the client arrived still stone drunk and a bottle of sake in his hand. Kakashi, this is going to be a problem, I can't smell anything with him here, Naruto said, unable to smell anything but the sake. It was strong enough that Naruto was starting to get nauseous again. Sir, could you please hold off on the drinking until we reach you village? Kakashi asked, seeing Naruto going green. What's wrong with her? She is greener than my grass back home and I live by a river, so that's saying something. The client asked, seeing Naruto turning rather green. That would be you. She has an extremely sensitive nose that puts a pack of tracking hounds to shame, so please refrain from drinking, Kakashi explained, while the rest were quite shocked to hear how sensitive Naruto's sense of smell is. Now that we are all here, please introduce yourselves, Kakashi ordered. Uchiha Sasuke, Sasuke said with a wave. Boruno Sakura, she said happily. Yu Uzumaki Naru Yuko, Naruto said, still feeling queasy. Hada Kakashi, and we are Team 7 at your service, Kakashi finished. Izuna the master bridge builder, Tizuna greeted with a bow. Right, let's head out, Kakashi ordered. And so the group headed out with Naruto at point, Sasuke and Sakura on the flanks, Kakashi at the back with Tizuna in the middle. 3 hours later, for the most part of the trip the group hadn't said a word, the normal chatterbox was busy concentrating on leading the group. Sakura, having enough of the silence, asked Izuna a question. Izuna-san, if you are hiring Konoha shinobi, does that mean your country doesn't have a hidden village? Sakura asked with curiousness. That's right, we don't have any shinobi in our country, though there are other closer countries like Kiri no Kuni that have a hidden village, but they're having a civil war, so they're not taking anyone in, Tizuna explained. Kiri no Kuni? Naruto asked, never having heard of the place. Aka, didn't you pay attention in class? Sakura asked, wondering why Naruto doesn't know about other countries. Well Sakura, you obviously didn't notice that I was never in class besides Iruka-sensei's class, Naruto answered Sakura. Why you do that, that's just wasting money and pretty stupid seeing how it's coming back to bite you know, Sakura responded. Well, because of a certain you know what, the only teacher that allowed me in class was Iruka-sensei, the rest kicked me out and forbid me to enter. When they discovered I could still hear them from outside, they started closing the door and doing something, so I couldn't hear anything from inside the class. So sorry for not knowing what the world consists of, Naruto said softly and sadly. Sakura, not realizing, her eyes widened. Naruto, sorry I didn't know. I'm really sorry, Sakura apologized, sadly regretting what she said. Thanks Sakura, but it's fine, I got over it ages ago, Naruto thanked softly. Kakashi on the other hand was pissed. When they got back he was going to have a word with a Hokage and a few teachers. Well, allow me to explain, Sakura offered, trying to cheer Naruto up. Before she could continue she was interrupted by a bang. Looking to the location of the noise, all she saw was dust and Naruto's hand in the ground in front of the smoke. This got everyone on alert. Naruto? What was that for? Sakura asked, not sure what was going on while pulling out her kunai. We had company, Naruto said quickly. When the dust cleared, everyone saw a 2-meter-wide fissure that stretched for 30 meters where Naruto had punched. Hearing a scream of pain to the left, all eyes turned to it. When Sakura saw what made the noise, she buckled over and lost her lunch and breakfast, while Sasuke almost lost his. Hard way to go, Kakashi thought. To the left of everyone at the base of a tree was a ninja with no right arm and blood pouring out his shoulder. His screams continued for a few seconds before they stopped along with his twitching. Naruto heard his erratic heartbeat come to a stop. To the right a groan could be heard. The second ninja that looked like the first was also at the base of a tree, but had all of his limbs intact, but at the end of his right hand was the other ninja's arm still attached to the chain that linked them together. Looking up to the sky and holding his right shoulder, he groaned again in pain. Ah. What the fuck just happened? He asked. 1 minute they were waiting for the group to pass to ambush them, then the next he was at the bottom of a tree with his right shoulder in agony. I happened, Naruto said, coldly pinning the guy to the tree with her tails. One pressing on his right shoulder increasing the pain and pressure, another around his neck loose enough so he could half breath, the rest waving about behind her. Ah. You bitch. Get off me. The injured ninja shouted in pain. How did you know it was us? He asked. This isn't how this works, but this time I will be happy to indulge your final request, Naruto said coldly. First, it hasn't rained in a week, so there is no way there could be a puddle out in this heat. Second, you two reek of sex, alcohol, blood and a few other things I don't recognize, Naruto answered of how she knew the two ninjas were there. Now who are you, who sent you and who is your target? Naruto asked with a sweet smile that put shivers into everyone's spines. We are the demon brothers Gumzu and my brother there is Maizu. We were sent by Zabuza and Ikki. That old guy is the target, Gumzu said. Thank you for your kind cooperation, Naruto said sweetly before using one of her tails to hit him across the face, knocking him out. Kakashi, must I deal with this or will you? Naruto asked. Well done, Naruto. You successfully located and dealt with the enemy, that on its own is a good job, but extracting information, that's very well done, Kakashi praised Naruto, who blushed and rubbed the back of her head. You deserve a bit of a rest, I will deal with the rest, Kakashi said, walking to the ninja by Naruto with a one-armed ninja on his shoulder. When we get back we are going to have a chat, Kakashi said, looking towards Tazuna while walking into the woods with the two ninja in tow. Few minutes later, when Kakashi returned, he threw 2 scrolls at Naruto. Naruto looking confused, Kakashi explained. If you turn those in I'm sure you will get a nifty amount from their bounties, Kakashi told Naruto. Now Tazuna, your mission stated to protect you from bandits, not ninjas. If ninjas have been hired to kill you then this would be an A rank mission at least. So my question is, why did you withhold this information and why would someone like Zabuza be after you? Kakashi asked sternly. Tazuna sighed, our country is poor and we can't afford anything higher than a C-rank mission. As to why this Zabuza guy is after me is no doubt because Gaten hired him. Atom? The founder of Gaten Company? Why would he be after you? Kakashi asked. That company of his is just a front. He is a criminal lord that took over our country a few years back. Ever since he took over, he has been driving our country into the ground. To counter this we started to building a bridge to connect our island to the mainland, as he controls all the sea trading ports and industries. As I am the lead builder and planner for the bridge, he is out to get me for fear of losing his control over us. If you want to cancel the mission that's fine, but I will be killed, my country will lose everything, my daughter will weep for ages, while my grandson will hate Konoha, Tazuna said, trying to guilt trip them group of ninjas. Of course Sakura bought this, while Naruto being Naruto can't not stand not helping people out. Kakashi, we will continue the mission, we can't abandon this mission now, we can handle it, and if anything happens you are here, Naruto said, earning a nod from Sakura and a smirk from Sasuke, who was up for the challenge. It's 4 against 1. Looks like we are continuing the mission. No unnecessary talking and keep your eyes peeled, got that? Kakashi said sternly, being outnumbered here. 2 hours later, the group had been walking for half an hour since they got off the boat they used to reach the island. Naruto, being on extra high alert, smelled some blood and a noise to her left. Reacting quickly, she threw a kunai. Everyone turning to where the kunai traveled, they all saw a bunny that was shaking in fear, too scared to run away with the kunai, a few hair whiskers above its head lodged into the base of a tree. Naruto, don't do that, and what did I say about hunting when I near you? Sakura said angrily to Naruto. I smelled blood and heard something, so I acted, Naruto shot back. Both Sasuke and Kakashi noticed the color of the fur in the rabbit. It's summer, its fur should be brown. They only get white fur when they are caged, or it's cold, Kakashi thought before he could continue his train of thought. He shouted while pulling Tazuna down. Get down. Sasuke did as told, hearing the tone used, while Naruto had to pull Sakura down, who didn't react. Thud. Everyone looking up saw a giant sword lodged into the tree with a man standing on the handle with his back facing them. The man had black hair and eyes. He had a bandage that wrapped around his head covering his mouth and nose. He was wearing a black tank top and black long pant with black shinobi sandals. He also had gray stripped fingerless gloves that also covered his entire forearm. Everyone could see him smirk through that makeshift bandage mask. No wonder the demon brothers didn't come back. They didn't stand a chance against the great copy ninja Kakashi no Sharingan, the man laughed. Lamachi's Zabuza and Nukenin from Kurigakure no Sato, also known as Kurigakure no Kijin, Kakashi said, recognizing the Nukenin. So I am even known in Konoha, Zabuza smirked. It may be true that demon brothers didn't stand a chance against me, but I'm not the one who dealt with them. Blondie here did that by herself, and let's just say that it was some explosive performance, Kakashi stated, making Naruto blush for a few seconds. You guys stay out of this. This is way above your league. Protect Azuna. Kakashi ordered while pulling up his headband revealing his left eye, and the trio ninja made a triangle in front of Tazuna. Sasuke looked into Kakashi's eye and was shocked to see what he saw. Sharingan. But Kakashi isn't part of the Uchiha clan, so how does he have that eye? Sasuke wondered. Kakashi's left eye was red with a black circular line going around completely in the middle of his iris, with 3 black dots spaced evenly on the line. Kurama growled deeply at this eye, making Naruto curious. Kurama shook his head, showing that he won't say why. Revealing the Sharingan already? I'm honored. I shall try not to disappoint you, Kakashi, Zabuza said while landing on the ground. Sharingan. Naruto and Sakura said at the same time. A ninjutsu unique to the Uchiha clan that allows the wielder of it to copy any tai, nin ninjutsu, Sasuke explained his clan's unique trait. Zabuza pulled out his sword from the tree and jumped back, standing near the river's edge that was close by. Zabuza's sword was a single-edged sword a bit smaller than Zabuza in length and is about a foot wide, about 12 to 14 inches in width. Near the handle on the edge side of the sword was a half-circle hole cut out, just a bit wider than the average width of a person's head. The tip of the sword was curved sharply, and just a bit further down was a full circle cut out in the center of the sword. The handle of the sword was about 16 to 17 inches long with no guard or pommel on it. Putting the sword on his back, Zabuza with his right hand made a half-Torah hand seal, while his left fully extended above his head, making another half-Torah hand seal. Nin. Kurigakure no Jutsu, Zabuza called out, which brought in a heavy thick mist in which made Zabuza disappeared. Speaking so that it sounded like he was all around them, Zabuza released his bloodlust to intimidate his opponents. Spine, kidney, liver, stomach, heart, lungs and throat, Zabuza called out. Huh? Sakura asked, confused about the naming of body parts. 7 virtual points on the body which lead to near instantaneous death if hit, which do you chose first? Zabuza laughed. Sakura nearly suffocated from the amount of bloodlust coming from Zabuza, while Sasuke was shaking with fear. His kunai rattling, he thought of how to get out of this, while Naruto was unnerved and Kakashi brushed it off. What's with this bloodlust? It's like I want to kill myself to escape, Sasuke thought. Sasuke, calm down. I'm here and I won't let anyone on my team die even if it kills me. That's a promise, Kakashi reassured Sasuke. Ha 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 ha. And I thought I was evil and here you're giving a kid false hope. You will have to break that promise, Kakashi, Zabuza laughed. Suddenly realizing where Zabuza was going to appear, Kakashi turned just in time to see Zabuza appear in the middle of Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and Tazuna. Kakashi with great speed appeared behind Tazuna. Zabuza dissipated into water. Izubunshin? Asked Kakashi, turning to where Zabuza was supposed to be. Another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi and took a swipe with his sword and connected with Kakashi. Kakashi split in half and turned to water. What, you copied it in this? Zabuza asked, surprised that Kakashi managed to copy his ninjutsu in this mist. Kakashi appeared behind Zabuza with a kunai in his right hand at Zabuza's neck. It's over, Zabuza, Kakashi declared. I see, you already copied the Mizubunshin no Jutsu when you reassured you team, Zabuza said, realizing that Kakashi had already copied it then. Once Zabuza finished speaking, he melted, surprising Kakashi. Kakashi sensed Zabuza behind him and saw him swing his sword in a downward arc towards him. Zabuza cursed when Kakashi jumped back to avoid the attack. With the sword now lodged into the ground, Zabuza continued his momentum and swung around the sword like a pole dancer. Using both his feet Zabuza kicked Kakashi in his chest, sending him flying, skipping across the water's surface before sinking into the river. Swimming back to shore Kakashi had a hard time surfacing but did eventually have most of his body on land. "This water is heavier than normal," Kakashi commented. Appearing next to Kakashi while doing some hand seals, Zabuza smirked. "Baka. Suiton. Surum no jutsu," Zabuza called out. Kakashi was now trapped in a sphere of water a few inches above the ground, with Zabuza's right hand inside the sphere to keep it active. Now that Kakashi was caught, Zabuza let up the mist he summoned earlier. "Kakashi-sensei," Naruto called out while the three ninjas got ready to charge. "So the brats want to play. Let's play," Zabuza said with a grin as a copy of him appeared between the original and the ninja trio. "Don't engage. A Mizu Bunshin can't go far from its creator. Take Tazuna and run, this was over the moment I got caught," Kakashi shouted from in his water prison. Kakashi's right, it was over the moment he got caught, but what makes him think we can run away? Sasuke thought, gritting his teeth. "Sasuke, put your hand on my shoulder, I've got a plan," Naruto said quietly. As Sasuke put his left hand on her shoulder, Naruto made a dozen clones and immediately dispelling 10 of them, covering the area around them in smoke. The original shape shifted into a Fukma Shuriken, while one clone shape shifted into an eagle and shot to the sky to hover above Zabuza, while the last clone took the original's position in front of Sasuke. When the smoke cleared, the Naruto clone with a shout charged the Zabuza clone, shortly followed by Sasuke jumping up and preparing to throw the Fukma Shuriken. The Zabuza clone smirked and got into a stance. "It doesn't matter how many of you attack, it won't change a thing," the Zabuza clone mocked. "We'll see about now, Sasuke," Naruto called out while throwing a punch. The Zabuza clone easily dodged the punch while watching Sasuke throw the oversized shuriken. Sasuke threw the shuriken in a wide arc, letting it sail past the Zabuza clone. "Smart, attack the original, but that thing won't do anything," the original Zabuza said while catching the shuriken with his left hand. "What, another one was in its shadow?" Zabuza asked, seeing a second one flying towards him. As Zabuza was talking, the Naruto clone dispelled the Zabuza clone before dispelling herself, surprising Zabuza yet again. "Page Bunshin. Where is the brat now?" Zabuza wondered, seeing Naruto dissipate into smoke. Zabuza jumped over the second Fukma Shuriken with a smirk on his face. "Not bad, but still too easy," Zabuza mocked. Poof. During to the sudden sound behind him, Zabuza saw Naruto throwing a kunai aimed at his face. But she turned herself into the shuriken. Thought a surprised Zabuza. Removing his right hand from the water prison, breaking the jutsu, Zabuza moved to his left to dodge the kunai. Sensing something above, Zabuza looked up to see another Naruto doing somersaults. The Naruto somersaulting down to Zabuza stopped so she could extend for right foot, preparing to axe kick Zabuza. "What? Where the hell this one come from?" Zabuza thought, confused, not sensing her earlier while reaching for his sword with his right hand on his back after dropping the Fukma Shuriken in his left hand. Bringing the sword above him to block the kick with both hands on either side of the sword, Zabuza got a bit worried as he was still in the air in a crouched position. Suddenly seeing the kunai pass him, Zabuza saw it twist and contort, changing into another Naruto. The Naruto above Zabuza connected with the flat side of the sword, her momentum and strength pushed Zabuza down, creating a small crater when he hit the ground. Zabuza grunted from the force of the kick, making him wonder just how strong the brat actually is. A few seconds after landing, Zabuza felt his feet get swiped from under him, making him fall backwards. Looking to see the cause, Zabuza saw another Naruto, where a Fukma Shuriken should have been, in a crouched position, moving in an anti-clockwise spin with her left foot extended. Zabuza felt a strong kick to his stomach courtesy of the Naruto that sailed past him earlier as a kunai. Zabuza was sent flying to the Naruto that sent the kunai. When Zabuza arrived next to her, Naruto did a front flip in the air and brought an axe kick down on Zabuza's chest, sending him to the bottom of the river. All the Naruto dispelled, leaving smoke except for the Naruto next to Kakashi that swept Zabuza's feet. Naruto reached her hand out to Kakashi. Taking hold of her hand, Kakashi was pulled up onto his feet. Sasuke was wide-eyed, he was expecting the second Fukma Shuriken to be Naruto, not the first one as well, let alone the kunai Naruto threw. Sakura was extremely confused, she was lost after the second Fukma Shuriken appeared. Tazuna just stood there with his jaw on the ground. "Naruto, that was something else," Kakashi praised Naruto, amazed at the stunt she just pulled. "See Kakashi, I told you we could handle it," Naruto said with a grin and holding out a peace sign to Kakashi. Everyone turned to the bubbles appearing from the river. Shortly afterwards, Zabuza pulled himself up and onto the water while coughing up water and blood. Slowing, standing up, his left hand holding his stomach and his sword in his right, Zabuza glared at Naruto. "Just what the hell is that kid? She packs some serious strength, not to mention that weird changing abilities of hers," Zabuza thought, analyzing her. "Ah." Zabuza grunted in pain. "She has definitely broken a few ribs," he thought in pain. "Not bad, brat, but you are going to have to do better than that," Zabuza said while walking on the surface of the water. Arriving on land, Zabuza prepared to charge only to receive 2 senbons in his neck, making him collapse forward. Everyone surprised at what just happened, Kakashi walked to Zabuza to check his pulse. Kneeling down, Kakashi brought his hand to Zabuza's neck and failed to feel any pulse. He's dead, but who? Kakashi was cut off by the arrival of a ninja with an Anbu mask on, kneeling next to Zabuza and lifting him up with an arm around their shoulder. Thank you, Shinobi-san. I have been hunting this Nukenin for some time. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you, said the masked shinobi. No problem, you're a Kurigakuroin in Butai. Kakashi asked, standing up. Hi, I will take my leave then. Once again I thank you, the ninja said before disappearing with Zabuza in a swirl of leaves. That kid looks like he isn't that much older than 13. So young and forced to do that, Kakashi thought with a sigh. Boy Kakashi. What the hell was that? Naruto asked, confused at what's going on. That was Oin and Butai from Kurigakur no Sato. Their mission is to hunt and kill Nukenin from their village, Kakashi answered. I don't get it, Naruto said, still confused. Don't worry about it for now, I'll explain everything when we get to Tazuna's house, Kakashi said, wanting to get moving. Naruto just nodded back. Tazuna-san, how far is your house from here? Kakashi asked. It's not far, about an hour's walking from here, Tazuna replied, earning a nod from Kakashi. Right, let's move out, it's getting dark so we will have to double time it, Kakashi ordered, getting everyone to move out. Thud, Naruto. Sakura shouted, seeing Naruto fall face first. Kakashi turning to see what the noise is about and saw Naruto lying on the floor with Sakura kneeling next to her. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto just passed out, Sakura said in a slightly panicking voice. I'll carry her, we will investigate when we get to Tazuna's house, Kakashi said, picking up Naruto. And so the group rushed to Tazuna's house, hoping that nothing bad has happened with Naruto. Knock knock, humming, a muffled voice called out. The door opened. A young early 30s woman opened the door. She had navy blue long hair that reached the middle of her back and black eyes. She is wearing a long green dress that reached her ankles over a white long-sleeved shirt. Her clothes are loose-fitting but still showed off her rather impressive figure. "You send your home, and are these the ninja you hired for us?" she asked while hugging her father. Tsunami-chan, yes they are. They're quite a strong bunch, already saved me twice on the way back, Tazuna replied happily. This is their room for my student here, she passed out after a fight and would like to examine her and make sure everything is fine. Kakashi asked. "Yeah, sure, follow me," Tsunami replied. Few minutes later, "Here, this is the guest room, you can put her down here. If you need anything be sure to let us know," Tsunami said sweetly. "Thank you, I will let you know if we do need anything," Kakashi thanked while laying Naruto down. "Kakashi, is she going to be alright?" Sakura asked nervously. Kakashi didn't say anything for a few minutes while checking over Naruto, which made Sakura start to worry even more. "Yeah, she should be fine, it seems she has suffered from chakra exhaustion," Kakashi finally answered. "She should be up in a day, 2 at most," he continued, bringing relief to Sakura and Sasuke, though he didn't show anything during all this. "Though I don't understand how. For as long as I've known her I've never seen her run out of chakra, and that fight shouldn't have put a dent in her reserves," Kakashi wondered, leaving out this information from the rest of his team. "Where are my manners? I'm Hada Kakashi, the boy is Sasuke, and the pink-haired one is Sakura, and the passed-out one is Naruto," Kakashi greeted Tsunami with a bow. "It's a pleasure to meet you, I'm Tsunami, and my son who is sleeping at the moment is Inari. I should thank you for coming on this mission, even though we did withhold some information," Tsunami greeted, though said the last part with a bit of sadness and gratefulness. "It's no problem. Konoha shinobi see all their missions though when your village is back to normal, you will still be required to pay the remaining amount," Kakashi replied. "Thank you. I will go and get some additional blankets, the girls can have this room, though this is the only guest room, so the rest will have to take the couches in the lounge," Tsunami said, getting up and walking to a cupboard. "Thank you, let's all rest for the night and we'll continue this tomorrow." "Come Sasuke, let's leave the girls to their rest," Kakashi said, getting up, followed by Sasuke, who just nodded. Inside the seal. What happened?" Naruto asked, getting up, slowing while holding her head. Looking around, Naruto notices she is in the seal. Getting up, she heads for the cage and passes through it. "Kurama? You there?" Naruto asked. "I'm here, kid," Kurama answered. Turning to her left, she saw Kurama lying down looking at her with one eye open. Walking to him, she sat against him, enjoying the warmth and softness of his fur. "Hey Kurama. Do you know what happened? I remember taking a step to follow Kakashi-sensei, then suddenly I wake up here." Naruto asked, not sure what happened. "You passed out, kid," Kurama answered. "But why?" Naruto asked, starting to get nervous. "Calm down, kid, nothing is wrong. You are just starting to grow your 5th tail. From now on, when you get an additional tail you will sleep for a day or 2. Kurama said, calming Naruto down, though was now confused as to why she would be passing out now every time she grows a tail. This is because the growing of the tails now will drain you of your chakra as your body changes when each new tail grows. Though you must be aware of a few changes from now on, Kurama continued. But changes, they're not bad are they? Naruto asked a little nervous. Not entirely. The first change is at the start of every full moon you will be forced into your fox form for a week. During this week you will be twice as strong as your demon half will dominate your human side. You need to be careful during this time. During this day you will no longer be a demon but fully human. So you will lose a lot of your power as well as your fox features. You will be weaker during this period so be extra careful. Kurama explained. That doesn't seem too bad, though I think I should avoid doing missions during a new moon, Naruto said processing all the new information. That would be advised. Though I will warn you during a full moon, you must not kill anyone or anything. Do you understand me? You must not kill anyone or anything. So no hunting for a week. Kurama said in a very serious tone. What will happen? Naruto getting very scared. I will be blunt. You will lose sight of yourself. You will be new to the emotions of a demon. Killing anything will cause you to drown in your emotions, and you will act on pure instinct, Kurama warned Naruto. Is there any way to let me control my emotions because I'm sure there will come a time where I am forced to kill, Naruto asked softly. Yes, through training. I will train you to control them when we get back to your village. Kurama said earning a smile from Naruto. That's good to hear. I would hate for anything to happen because of me, Naruto sighed in relief. One other thing, you should inform your team of this change as tomorrow is a full moon. Kurama said getting Naruto's attention. It's only from noon so you will still have time. Well in fox form you won't be able to speak to your teammates until you get your sixth tail and learn how to speak, Kurama told Naruto. I see. Thanks Kurama, I think I will get some rest, Naruto said with a yawn before cuddling up into Kurama and falling asleep. Wrapping his tails around Naruto, Kurama smiled before falling asleep himself. Early morning, following day. Waking up slowing and yawning loudly while stretching Naruto observed the room she was in. It was a simple room, bed in the middle of the room which her and Sakura were occupying. A cupboard in the far left corner and window on the right. Behind her was the door to the room. Slowly getting out of bed Naruto opened the door to find a place to shower and get ready for the day. Stepping out and turning into the corridor she saw a 7-8-year-old kid who had a very dark blush on his face. Hey kid what's wrong you look very flushed, Naruto said walking up to him and bending down slightly to put her hand on his forehead. I'm fine thought could you please put SSMCC clothes on, the kid said his face turning completely red. Huh? Naruto asked confused. Looking down she looked at herself only to find she was stark naked. This caused Naruto to smirk. The kid seeing the smirk started to sweat furiously, not liking where this is heading. Why, don't you like what you see? You can see more if you like, Naruto said in a seductive voice while standing up in a pose while biting her finger and letting her tails brush over her skin and another moving to caress the kid's face softly. At this point Kakashi turned the corridor to see if Naruto was alright, only to see her shifting into a seductive pose and hear her speak in a voice that would make all men hard instantly. The kid not being able to take the embarrassing situation passed out with smoke coming out of his ears. This now allowed Kakashi to see Naruto in her full glory. Well-endowed firm, a well-toned flat stomach slightly able to see a six-pack forming, long slender firm legs with her leg muscles showing slightly. Her body had a perfect full tan, no pale or white spots anywhere, clearly sun tanning naked when she got the chance. Kakashi seeing this along with her tails caressing her body, her fox ears visible and hair down, got a massive nosebleed. Kakashi was sent flying and hitting the wall behind him. Wondering what the noise was Naruto looked up to see a very pale Kakashi passed out twitching against the wall with a pool of blood by his feet and the biggest grin that could be seen through his mask. Naruto laughed while heading back to her room to get her clothes. 2 hours later, after everyone had showered and dressed, while Kakashi cleaned the blood stain on the floor. Team 7 all got together in the guest room. Naruto I see you're better now. You lost a lot of chakra yesterday, do you know why? Kakashi asked happy to see that Naruto was well. Yes I do, and I have something I need to tell you 3 as it has to do with me passing out, Naruto said to her team. Didn't you just use too much chakra from your fight yesterday? Sakura asked. Nope after a fight like that I would normally still be on a full tank of chakra, Naruto replied. But really, how much chakra do you have? Sakura asked surprised while Sasuke was also curious but didn't show it. Kakashi speaking up for Naruto answered the question, I would have to guess around a low-tailed bijk, which is around double if not more than what the Sandaime has, he said, while sitting in a thinking pose. Both Sakura and Sasuke went wide-eyed at this. Sasuke was wondering how on earth did Naruto has so much chakra, it had to have been her being part demon. So what is it you need to tell us? Kakashi asked. My passing out was due to me getting my 5th tail. See, Naruto said spreading out her tails showing all 5 of them. In additional to my senses, strength and chakra capacity increasing, I get additional abilities from them. One that I have discovered is my ability to shapeshift, Naruto informed. Shapeshift? Both Sakura and Sasuke said confused. Yeah, it allows me to changing into anything I can think of without the use of chakra, Naruto explained while changing into Sasuke and then turning back. So that's what you did yesterday with the shuriken and kunai, Sasuke said realizing what she did. Yep, haha, Naruto said with a giggle while rubbing the back of her head. So what does you passing out have to do with it? Asked Kakashi. From now on when I grow a tail I will sleep for a day or two while it grows, Naruto answered. I see, do you know when you will grow your other tails? Kakashi asked hoping that she does so it doesn't happen while on a mission like it did now. No sorry I can't it seems to happen randomly. There is one last thing you need to know, Naruto said in a serious tone causing her teammates to raise an eyebrow. And what would that be? Kakashi asked hoping it wasn't something bad. During a full moon for a week I will be forced to remain in my fox form and I will be more demon than human. During a new moon for a full day I will become fully human, so I will lose a lot of my strength and my fox features, Naruto informed. I see, so we will have to avoid missions during your new moon phase. Well a fox you will be unable to speak. Kakashi asked. Yes for now until I get my sixth tail I will be unable to speak, Naruto confirmed. Well this could be interesting, and full moon should be in the next 2 to 3 hours, Kakashi said, noting when the next full moon is. Now on to what I have to say, Kakashi said changing the subject. I fear that Zabuza is still alive, Kakashi said seriously. What? All three said loudly. But I thought you confirmed that he was dead. Sasuke asked. I did. Tell me what you know about Oinins. Kakashi asked. There are ninjas that hunt and kill ninjas that have abandoned their village, Sasuke replied. Correct. When an Oinin kills their target they dispose the Nukenin's body so their village secrets don't get into the hands of other villages. If proof is needed normally the head is enough, Kakashi said while thinking about what Oinins do. Sasuke's eyes widen realizing this, that Oinin left with Zabuza, don't they normal dispose the body right there? He asked seeing where Kakashi was going. That's correct Sasuke, so that means that the possibility of Zabuza being alive is high, Kakashi confirmed seeing that Sasuke was thinking the same thing. Okay I get it now, so Oinin hunt Nukinin and get rid of their bodies on the spot and take the head back as proof. So the so-called Oinin was helping him, Naruto said learning about what Oinin is. Correct. Oinin know the human body very well, so being able to put someone in a false state of death is very easy and senbons are used for acupuncture. For this week you will be training and preparing for Zabuza's return, Kakashi said to his team. First we need to inform Tazuna and his family about Zabuza and Naruto's incoming change Kakashi said getting up followed by the rest of Team 7. For the next 2 hours Team 7 explained about Zabuza and Naruto while having breakfast. 2 hours later in a forest nearby. Before Kakashi could speak Naruto knelt down clenching her head, knowing what was about to happen, Kakashi told the rest of his team to back a bit, not knowing how much Naruto would change, as she is supposed to be more demon than human. At back, I don't know what will happen so be on guard, Kakashi ordered getting back himself and preparing for the worst. Sasuke and Sakura moved next to Kakashi not knowing what else to do. Slowly Naruto twisted and contorted while changing into a 5-tailed gold blonde fox a bit taller than Sasuke. Slowly Naruto's eyes opened her blue eyes were replaced with pure golden eyes shining almost as if they were glowing. Shaking her head at the bizarre transformation Naruto slowly opened her eyes and saw her team looking at her and were quite tense. Seeing that they didn't know what to expect Naruto sat on her hind legs while her tails wagged happily about behind her. Seeing this and the smile appear on the fox Kakashi calmed down which Sasuke and Sakura did as well. The two genin slowly walked to Naruto. Sakura put her hand on the fox's head and seeing Naruto do nothing started to pat her. Naruto started to purr in fairly deep growl-like sound. Sakura giggled at this and continued to pat the Naruto fox. Sasuke noticed that this was a rather big fox. The fox was a bit taller than him and Sakura. Sasuke felt this was a bit intimidating though would never admit it. So you can't speak like this, but can you still understand us? Kakashi asked now standing next to the rather large fox. Naruto stopped purring and turning to look at Kakashi before nodding her head. Kakashi was happy that Naruto still seemed like her and could still understand them. Kakashi asked another question so he could know if he could continue this training session. Naruto are you still able to use chakra? Kakashi asked in which Naruto nodded again. Looking at her paws he asked another question. Seeing your paws I'm guessing that you can't do hand seals, Kakashi asked Naruto who once again nodded. Alright now that's out the way let's start training. For this training you will be learning how to climb trees, Kakashi said, giving out the training details. Climbing trees? But we can already do that sensei, Sakura asked confused by this. Ah yes, but this time you are not allowed to use your hands, Kakashi explained further. Kakashi walked up to the tree and started walking up the tree as if he was still walking normally on land. This surprised the genin. Kakashi stopped standing on the bottom side of the branch, looking down to his team sticking to the tree like glue. To do this you need to focus on your chakra and collect it at the bottom of your feet. This will allow you to stick the tree's surface. As collecting chakra at the bottom of your feet is the hardest place to do so on your body. Mastering this means that it will increase your chakra control greatly and allow you to use jutsus more effectively and stop wasting unnecessary chakra. Naruto, for you this will be doubly effective as you have 4 feet in which you must send chakra to Kakashi. Kakashi then threw 2 kunes on landed by Sasuke, another by Sakura. Naruto, normally you have get a kunai as well, but with you in that form, I don't think you would need it, you have claws, so use those. When you reach your maximum height mark it and try to best it the next time you try, Kakashi said, explaining what the kunes were for. It's best if you give yourselves a running start, though Naruto, due to you being a fox, I think a running start would defeat the purpose of this, so try climbing up without the run up, Kakashi gave advice though thought that Naruto could just run up just from momentum alone. Sasuke was the first to try, running up the trip he slipped when he was halfway up to the first branch and so marked his point. Sakura was the next to try and easily made it up to the first branch on her first go, surprising her team. Well done Sakura, you have excellent control over your chakra. I want you to try this without the run up this time, Kakashi praised. It was now Naruto's turn. Walking up to the base of the tree, Naruto concentrated as she channeled chakra to her paws. She put one paw on the tree expecting it to stick, though she did something that made everyone including Kakashi drop their jaws to the ground. As soon as Naruto's paw touched the tree's trunk exploded away from her, making a huge hole in the base of the tree. This caused the tree to fall towards her and Sasuke. They both quickly jumped to the side to avoid the tree. "Oh Ibaka. What the hell are you doing?" A very annoyed Sasuke shouted to Naruto. Sasuke thought this was some prank on Naruto's side. Naruto had a sorry look on her face and had her tails between her legs. Sasuke calmed down when he saw this, he realized that it wasn't a prank. "Naruto, how did you do that?" Sasuke asked. It seems that Naruto put way too much chakra into her paws. Normally if you use too much chakra you push too hard against the tree and if you use too little you tend to slip off, Kakashi explained. Though to be honest I've never seen someone make a tree explode while doing this. Naruto, try using as little chakra as you are able to and work up from there, we don't want to destroy the forest, Kakashi said, not sure what to make of this. The only time Kakashi had seen a tree explode is from people using jutsus on it, not using the tree climbing exercise. Naruto tried again, though she didn't bring the tree down, she still made a decent size hole in the tree, making Kakashi sweat drop. Just how much chakra does she have? The amount of chakra need to make a tree explode like that would make quite the dent in my own reveres, Kakashi thought, still not sure how much chakra this girl has. After a few more times Naruto managed to only make a hole the size of a fist now. Wanting some help, Naruto walked over to an exhausted Sakura. Using her claw, Naruto caved a question into the tree, then tapped Naruto with her tail and pointed to the question. Feeling a tap on her shoulder, she looked up to see Naruto using her claw to point to the tree. Looking to where Naruto was pointing, Sakura saw a message caved into the base of the tree. The message said, "Sakura, can you please give me advice on how to do this? I seem to always use too much chakra and make the tree explode." Sakura looked to Naruto to see a slightly sad-looking Naruto. Standing up and patting her, Sakura giggled, hoping to cheer her up a bit. "Sure Naruto. The key to this is not to stress, strain or tense yourself, you need to be calm and relaxed," Sakura advised. Naruto gently nudged Sakura as a thank you before going back to the tree and trying again. Slowly calming herself down, Naruto channeled as small amount of chakra as she could to her paws. Placing her paw on the tree, Naruto was very happy to see that she didn't make a hole in it. Happy that the tree didn't explode, Naruto put a second paw on, getting the same result, so she put her last 2 on the tree and stayed there stuck to the tree. Slowly Naruto made her way up one step at a time. When she got near the first branch, she lost concentration and slipped. Quickly making a mark, Naruto flipped and landed on the ground, not making a sound when she landed. Sakura had been watching the whole thing while Sasuke was too busy running up and falling down off the tree. "Well done Naruto. Though how did you land so quietly?" Sakura praised before asking how Naruto was so silent when it came to landing. Naruto used her claw to write another message to Sakura. "Strength, agility and flexibility. I'll explain fully when I can talk again." "Oh I see, well it's pretty cool. Do you think I could learn how to do that?" asked Sakura, still amazed by it. Naruto wrote on the tree again. "I suppose so, though it will be harder for you." "Cool, can you show it to me sometime?" asked Sakura, happy that she might learn something new. Naruto nodded her head before going back to practicing climbing the tree. Kakashi had stopped reading when Naruto started writing a message the first time asking for help. Kakashi was very happy with the interaction among his teammates, though glanced to Sasuke, hoping that he would come around soon. Over the next 5 days Naruto and Sasuke had been going at the tree climbing exercise non-stop. They both passed the first branch on the second day, but refusing to lose to each other, their goal was to see who could reach the top of the tree first. Sakura had trained on the second day, but halfway through went to go guard Tazuna for the next 3 days, along with Kakashi. At the end of the third day the team learned what happened to Inari's father of how Gat made an example of him by publicly executing him, completely destroying all hope in the village. This caused Inari to lose all sense of hope and to think that heroes do not exist. Sakura had become quite attached to Naruto in her fox form. At night Naruto would shrink down to the size of Akamaru and allow Sakura to cuddle her during the night. Neither were sure of who enjoyed it more. On the 5th night Sasuke and Naruto come back late after training. Both were very tired, Sasuke more so than Naruto. Naruto was forced to give Sasuke a ride back who didn't quite like the idea of Sasuke riding on her back, but she couldn't leave him there. Back at Tazuna's house late at night, walking through the door Kakashi smiled at the sight of Naruto giving Sasuke a ride. "Enjoy the ride Sasuke." Kakashi teased though Sakura wasn't very happy about this as it meant in her mind that the two were getting closer to each other. Sasuke and Naruto didn't like this either. This was shown by Sasuke grunting shortly followed by Naruto throwing him on the floor before shrinking to Akamaru's size and climbing into Sakura's lap and lying down. Sasuke made his way to the table and sat next to Kakashi on the opposite side of Sakura and Tsunami and Tazuna at the head. Sakura was happily rubbing Naruto's ears while listening to her purr merrily away. "So Sasuke, how did the training go?" asked Kakashi. "We both reached the top of the tree, I reached the top first, but Naruto can run up the tree fast, then I can," Sasuke told Kakashi the results of their train. No surprise there, in her fox form Naruto is no doubt one of the fastest ninjas in Konoha, Kakashi explained personally knowing how fast Naruto can be if she needs to be. "It doesn't matter, you're all going to die anyway, there is nothing you can do against Gaten," Inari said appearing out of nowhere from behind Sakura. Everyone saw Inari walking up to the table with tears brimming in his eyes. Naruto opened one eye at this. If she had been able to turn into her human form, she would have done it and shot back something at him. Knowing that she can't, she just sat there in Sakura's lap waiting to see how well this turned out. Sasuke, not liking someone thinking that all the training he has done this week has been nothing but a waste, stood up and gave the kid a hard stare causing him to flinch. "Don't go selling us short when you don't know what we can do. We are ninjas, we are trained for this. Gaten is just a small annoyance, pretty sure Sakura can take him on her own," Sasuke said in an emotionless tone. "Hey, what's that supposed to mean?" Sakura shot back, not sure if it was a compliment or an insult. "No, you won't. You don't even know what it's like living here. You ninjas no doubt live a happily life all protected and praised by the rest of your villages, you have no." Inari didn't get to finish his sentence. Naruto being extremely pissed off at what he had said, Naruto jumped off Sakura, making her jump at the sudden movement from Naruto. While in the air jumping towards Inari, Naruto grew back into her full-sized fox and hit Inari, knocking him to the ground and pinning him down with her paws on his arms. Standing over him and looking down to him, Naruto gave a hard loud aggressive growl. Inari looking up to Naruto could see the anger in her eyes as well as the fangs Naruto was bearing at him. The growl became deeper and more prominent while Naruto's face edged closer to Inari's face. At this point Inari was getting very scared, not sure what brought this on and what Naruto was going to do. "That's enough Naruto," Sakura shouted. The growling stopped and with a huff Naruto walked outside the house to go and cool down. Team 7, thinking it's best to leave Naruto to her own thoughts, left her to calm down. Sakura had a rather sad look on her face. Turning to Inari still on the floor, Sakura reached her hand out to help him up. He quickly slapped it away, causing Sakura to gasp before bolting to his own room. Kakashi followed Inari to try and calm him down and explain why Naruto had done that. Sasuke, also being rather angry, left to go to the guest room to cool of himself. During the night Naruto trained harder than she ever had, trying to event herself. This caused a few trees to disappear rather quickly. Kurama had to let this run through Naruto as not much else would calm her down. For the next 2 days Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi guarded Tazuna while Naruto did her usual training. This annoyed Sasuke because he also wanted to train some more, but Kakashi had told him he needs to recover and let his body rest. Sasuke asked why Naruto doesn't have to as well, getting him even more annoyed. Kakashi told him that Naruto is different and because she is a Hanyou her body doesn't need rest like humans do and her healing ability will do that if she ever does. Sasuke had grunted and reluctantly returned to protecting Tazuna. The day is finally the day Naruto can turn back to her human form. Around noon Naruto changed back and continued training late into the night and falling asleep outside. Next day in the forest, feeling a pleasant sensation by ears, Naruto slowly opened her eyes to someone that looked like a girl rubbing her ears with one of the prettiest smiles she has ever seen. "Oh, you up? Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb your sleep," the person said, hoping the strange fox humanoid figure wouldn't be angry. Taking a closer look at the person, they had long brown hair and eyes. Wearing a pink kimono with flower patterns on it, Naruto thought this person looked really cute, though wasn't sure if said person was a boy or a girl and was around the same age as Naruto. "No, it's good, quite the pleasant way to wake up actually," Naruto said happily while rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "Oh, that's good, I was about to say that you will get a cold sleeping outer, but then I saw the ears and tails, so I wasn't sure if they were real or if you getting a cold was possible," the person said in relief. "Oh, that's kind of you, but yes, they're real and I haven't been sick yet, so getting a cold might be impossible for me," Naruto said, trying to remember if she's ever been sick before. "So what are you doing out here? Do you live here?" the person asked. "No, I was training her yesterday and ended up passing out," Naruto replied. "Training? What you training for?" the person asked. "Boy, I'm a kunoichi and I'm training so I can get stronger," Naruto said with pride and confidence. "But you look strong enough already." "It may look like it, but there are stronger people out there and also have something to prove to someone," Naruto replied while rubbing the back of her head. "To prove something? So you are getting stronger for the sake of someone else? Do you have a precious person?" the person said in sweet voice, making Naruto think that this person is a girl. "Huh?" Naruto asked, a bit confused. "Do you have a precious person? Because when you have someone to protect, that's when your true strength surfaces," the person said with a smile. "Huh? Oh yeah, I know what you mean," Naruto said with a smile. Getting up and leaving, the person turned around and looked at Naruto. "By the way, my name is Haku and I'm a boy," Haku said, waving before leaving. Naruto was quite surprised by this, though Haku did smell like a male. Wow, and he is cuter than Sakura, is he really a boy? He did smell like one, Naruto thought. Haku is male in this story. Getting up, Naruto went to go hunt for food to say thanks for the hospitality and to apologize for her outburst a few days back. Naruto only got back near nighttime as she had to travel a bit in order to find food. Later that evening at Tazuna's house, walking up to the door, Naruto stopped along with the two deer carcasses behind her. "Tsunami-san, I got some food as a thanks for your hospitality and to apologize for my outburst a few days ago," Naruto said, showing her catch. "Oh, thank you, Uzumaki-san, and there is no need to apologize, my son was out of line," Tsunami said sweetly. "Naruto or Naru is fine, no need for formalities." "So where can I put this?" Naruto said she really wasn't the one for such formality rituals and whatnot, as she puts it. "You can put them in the outhouse around the back and dinner is ready, so feel free to join if you're hungry," Tsunami said, showing Naruto where to put the deer. "Thanks, I'll be there now," Naruto thanked while walking to the outhouse. The next morning, crack, crack, thud, scream, Naruto quickly waking up to the sounds of a scream raced downstairs to find Inari running out the door and the living room a complete mess. Naruto followed Inari and saw two men holding Tsunami with their swords to her throat. Behind them were about 10 other men, all with their swords drawn. Acting instantly, Naruto charged the two holding Tsunami. Naruto reappeared by Inari while holding Tsunami bridal style. Setting down, Naruto slowly started walking to the two thugs. Slowly releasing a large amount of chakra and killing intent, making the two thugs freeze, Naruto walked closer to them. "You touch her again, you will die. Leave now or so hell or heaven help you," Naruto said very coldly. When she got right up to them, out of fear they attacked her. Reacting on instinct, Naruto used a tail to thrust into their chests, completely piecing and killing them instantly. Releasing her tails from the two thugs. Naruto's nails and teeth started growing longer and her fur on her head and tails become wilder. Her fur started to stand up slightly. Slowly licking her lips and walking to the remaining thugs, she grew a very evil-looking grin and baring her longer than normal fangs. Seeing this, the rest of the thugs completely froze in fear. Still walking slowly to them, Naruto's grin grew wider and her eyes turned gold. Naruto sang out in an all-too-sweet voice, sending shivers down everyone's spine. "Let's play." Each step Naruto took, fear increased within the thugs. Some had already wet themselves. The thug closest to Naruto dropped his weapon, shaking and sweating in fear. Dropping to his knees was the final trigger as a blur of yellow flew past him. Screams of pain, crunching of bones and the sound flesh being pierced, he could hear each one clearly. To make it worse, there was a gap between each one, a gap long enough to know exactly what happened. As quickly as it begun, it ended. All 9 of his friends were dead except for him. Too overwhelmed with fear to move, to breathe and even to think. He sat there on his knees, tears starting to roll down his face as he heard footsteps heading towards him. Forcefully turned around, he saw what was left of his friends. Looking upon his friends, he saw that they were either mutilated or just a blood stain spread across the deck. Using one of her tails, Naruto gently and lovingly caressed the thug's face, leaving a blood smear as it traveled across his face. Naruto circled him a few times before kneeling down face to face. A tail positioned itself where the thug's heart was before slowly adding pressure. The thug produced a silent scream as he felt the tail pierce his chest slowly. The strain from too much pain and fear, his body shut down, slumping to the ground before Naruto's tail could completely pierce his body. Standing up slowly, the gold color in Naruto's eyes slowly faded into her normal blue eyes. Blinking several times while shaking her head, Naruto looked down only to see a dead thug with a hole in his chest. What happened? Did I do TT this? Naruto asked with a shaky voice. When Naruto turned around, she dropped to her knees while a few tears rolled down her face. Naruto turned and buckled over, throwing up into the river below her. Naruto saw the once brown deck, which leads to Tazuna's house, which was standing over water, was now covered with blood and body parts. Getting a good look at her reflection in the water, Naruto saw that sea was covered in blood. Gasping and holding her mouth, Naruto started crying and shaking in fear of what she had done or possible become. I did this, but why? Naruto said between sobs. Can you hear me, damn it? Kurama said loudly, making Naruto jump. Kurama. What happened to me? Naruto asked, still shaking. Finally, I've been trying to get to you. It seems you were taken over by your emotions as to why, most likely because you are still new to this, Kurama replied, not entirely sure of what caused this. Now clean yourself and head for the bridge, your team might need your help. We will talk about this later, now is not the time, Kurama told while sensing a fight at the bridge. Naruto nodded slowly before running closer to the house and jumping into the river away from the carnage. Naruto quickly washed herself, removing the blood from her clothes, tails and hair. Slowly pulling herself back onto the deck that held the house, Naruto started running at full speed to the bridge. Shortly before arriving at the bridge, Naruto shifted into her eagle form and flew high into the sky. Looking onto the bridge, Naruto saw that the area was covered with mist and her team were in a bit of trouble. Sakura was guarding Tazuna while Kakashi was on the defensive due to Zabuza. A bit further to the right, Naruto saw a dome of some sort, and what she saw inside it made her worry. Inside the dome was Sasuke with many senbons sticking out of him. Flying to help Sasuke, Naruto saw Sasuke collapse. Naruto returned to her human form, while still flying towards the dome, she took off her wrist weights and threw them at the dome. The weights hit a part of the dome each and creating a deep crater when they hit the bridge. As Naruto got close to the dome, she took her ankle weights off, and just in time as she landed, making another smaller crater. As soon as Naruto landed, she threw the weights towards the direction of where Kakashi was, destroying another part of the dome. Naruto quickly made a clone to pick up Sasuke and run outside the dome with him on her shoulders. As soon as the clone left the dome, the destroyed sides regenerated, leaving the original trapped inside. Finally, taking a look at the dome, Naruto saw that it was a dome made of mirrors with a picture of the Oinin they met a week ago. There was another row of mirrors above the first row that were tilted inwards with a single mirror as the roof. The mirrors were a bit less than double the height of Naruto. I see you were able to allow your teammate to escape this place. It makes no difference, you will not escape, a voice said from all around Naruto. Please surrender, I do not wish to kill you, the voice continued. No need, you couldn't kill me even if you tried, Naruto shot back. Every will you leave me no choice, the voice said. With her senses, Naruto dodged a set of senbons that were thrown at her from behind. While dodging, Naruto noticed a blur head from one mirror to another. Sending chakra to her ears and nose, Naruto increased her hearing and smell capabilities. Naruto dodged another set of senbons while trying to see if she could see that blur again. Though she didn't see the blur, she heard water splash behind her, along with a single footstep. Dodging another set, Naruto turned to face behind her and saw the blur this time, along with hearing the single footstep. You are fast, I'll give you that, but I'm not anywhere near my full speed, Naruto boasted. Your bluffs don't affect me. You won't be escaping this place, so please give up, the voice replied. Bluff? Why don't you find out for yourself if it's a bluff or not, Naruto said while taking off her jacket and dropping it. When the jacket hit the ground, it made a mini explosion and covering the inside of the dome with dust and debris. The debris made a few cracks in most of the mirrors that surrounded Naruto. If it weren't for the dust and the Oinin's mask, Naruto would have seen the ninja's eyes go wide. During the dust, Naruto made a dozen cage bunshin. When the dust cleared, 13 Narutos stood there, each with a grin on their faces. The 12 clones rushed to destroy a mirror, though none made it close as they were all destroyed by a set senbons. Numbers mean nothing in here, it's pointless to continue, the person said, the voice still coming from all around Naruto. Naruto just grinned and made another dozen cage bunshin, which each charged towards a mirror. Each clone was destroyed again. While Naruto had the clones attack, she focused on tracking the ninja. Smiling that she was getting closer, Naruto made another dozen, but they were all destroyed before they could even charge. I told you. You can't win, so please surrender, the ninja said again with a sigh this time. Naruto said nothing and her grin turned into a smirk. The ninja, seeing this, was confused as to why, then realized that Naruto was directly staring at him. Before the ninja could do anything, Naruto appeared in front of the mirror while cocking her fist back, preparing to punch. As Naruto sent her fist forward, the ninja slipped out the mirror only to be hit by a tail, sending him crashing through the mirror. As the ninja recovered, twisting their body mid-air to land, Naruto was upon him again. Naruto punched the ninja in the face, making the mask crack and sending the ninja flying and landing a few meters in front of Kakashi and Zabuza. As Naruto went in for another punch, he saw the face of the ninja and stopped inches from punching the ninja. "Haku?" Naruto asked, recognizing the ninja. "Why did you stop?" Haku asked. Dropping her fist, Naruto replied, "Haku, you're with Zabuza." "Why?" "He saved me from hell and as such I am his weapon to do as he sees fit," Haku answered. "Weapon?" Naruto repeated. "Where I come from, having a Kekkei Genkai is forbidden, and when my father found out about this, he killed my mother right in front of me. As he moved closer to me saying that he will rid this land of us, I panicked. He called my mother and me a curse that plagued the land and the reason for its destruction. Out of fear I killed my own father. I was forced to leave and run. No one took me in or even cared to look at me," Haku said softly. "The last thing I remember my father saying replayed in my head over and over. You are an unwanted plague." Shortly after I started to believe what he said was true, and that's when Zabuza-sama found me. He gave me reason to live and to feel wanted again, so I will do anything to protect him and his dream. He is my precious person," Haku said with a smile. "Haku," Naruto said sadly. "He is like me, hatred for something beyond our choice and control," Naruto thought, sadly looking to the ground while a few tears rolled down her face. "Please kill me, I have no use now," Haku asked. "But why?" "What do you mean?" Naruto said, quickly looking at Haku. "I am Zabuza-sama's weapon. Now that I have been defeated, I am useless. Zabuza-sama has no need for weak tools. So please kill me, I have nothing left to live for," Haku said softly. "That's bullshit. You are no tool. I will not kill you," Naruto shouted in anger to Haku. Before Haku could say something, both Naruto and Haku heard a chirping sound. Both turned and saw Kakashi's hand covered in blue lightning sparkling around Kakashi's hand. Haku saw Zabuza trapped and held down by a pack of dogs and Kakashi charging with his hand lighting covered extended. Without hesitation, Haku made a mirror before slipping into it. Haku flew out the mirror to intercept Kakashi. Naruto, seeing what Haku was doing, chased after her. As Naruto got close, it was already too late. In slow motion, Naruto watched Haku appear in the path of Kakashi from another mirror he placed in front of Zabuza and take the hit to his heart. Before his last breath, Haku clenched his hands around Kakashi's arm that was in his chest. "Haku, well done, what a useful thing I've picked up." "Kakashi, it looks like you can't tell the future," Zabuza praised while lifting his sword with his left hand and holding it above his right shoulder. Kakashi saw that his arm was stuck and Zabuza was about to strike. Thanks to the slight hesitation, Kakashi escaped unharmed while holding Haku by jumping back. Haku though got a nasty slash across his back. Kakashi freed his arm from Haku before closing the kid's eyes. Kakashi slowly stood up and looked at Zabuza with a hard cold stare. Appearing in front of Zabuza instantly, Kakashi roundhouse kicked Zabuza towards Sakura and Izuna. While Kakashi was beating Zabuza, Naruto had retrieved Sasuke and placed him by Sakura. Looking back to Kakashi, Naruto saw him standing behind Zabuza with a kunai in both of his hands. Zabuza, using his left hand, swung his sword behind him. Kakashi ducked, letting the sword sail over his head. As soon as the sword passed his head, Kakashi rose and stabbed both kunai into Zabuza's bicep. This made Zabuza lose his grip on his sword and sent it flying towards Haku. The sword was lodged into the bridge near Haku's head. "Zabuza, this fight is over. You are too distraught to continue. Clearly Haku's death has affected you," Kakashi said, declaring the fight. "Shut it, Kakashi. This fight isn't over yet," Zabuza shot back while the mist surrounding the area dispersed. "Well, what do we have here? Zabuza, you useless fuck, can't you do anything right?" A voice suddenly made itself known. Kakashi, Zabuza and Naruto turned to the voice and saw a brown-haired man in a suit with a pair of sunglasses and a cane in his hand. Behind him there was a few dozen thugs, all fully armed and with their weapons drawn. "Gaten? What the fuck are you doing here?" Zabuza asked. Walking up to Haku, Gaten rammed his cane into Haku's face and kicking him a few times. "Take that, you shit stain." "That's for breaking my hand," Gaten cursed. "He is already dead, leave him alone." Naruto shouted. "Don't care," Gaten said while kicking Haku a few more times, making Naruto grit her teeth. "I never planned to pay you after this. Why hire a Nukenin when I can hire all of these guys for the same price," Gaten said while using his hand to show all the thugs behind him. "Kakashi, our fight is over, I have no reason to fight you anymore," Zabuza stated while walking towards Gaten. Gaten stomped Haku's chest before saying, "Zabuza, some demon you were. Are you going to just let him disrespect Haku like that?" Naruto shouted while running up to Zabuza. "Shut up, kid. He is already dead," Zabuza calmly said back to Naruto. "Do you not feel anything?" Naruto shouted back, getting angry. "No, I don't. Just like Gaten used me, I used Haku. I only used Haku for his Kekkei Genkai. In this world, shinobi are only tools to do as we are told. I have no regrets, Zabuza simply replied. Boy, do you really mean that? Naruto asked softly. Who the hell is this annoying brat? Gatm asked, getting annoyed. Shut it. Naruto shot back while Gatm gritted his teeth. He loved you. Do you really mean that? Naruto shouted to Zabuza. Naruto, enough, he is not the enemy anymore, Kakashi said while placing his hand on her shoulder. Naruto just knocked Kakashi's hand off her before walking closer to Zabuza. Do you really feel nothing? Naruto asked again. You were precious to him. He loved you. He threw his life away for you. Naruto shouted while tears started to run down her face. He died without his own dream. To die as a tool, Naruto said softly, but enough for Zabuza here. How can you not feel anything? Naruto shouted while crying. Zabuza said softly. Naruto looked up to Zabuza and started crying more when she saw him crying. You don't need to say any more, Zabuza continued to say softly. Blah blah blah. Shut it already, you making a noise, Gatm said, giving Haku a final kick hard enough to send him rolling a meter or two. Naruto stopped crying when she saw this. Her head tilted towards the ground, hiding her eyes while slowly releasing her chakra. Both Kakashi and Zabuza turned to look at Naruto after feeling her chakra slowly increase. This talking is wasting time. Where is the group I sent to pick up that whore the builder calls a daughter? I need some new entertainment, she will make a great whore, Gatm said with a laugh. Hearing this set Naruto off and made her release her full power. Kakashi and Zabuza were pushed back from the force of Naruto releasing her chakra. Sakura went wide-eyed when she could see chakra flowing around Naruto in between the dust that was flying away from Naruto. Kakashi and Zabuza had to cover their eyes from all the dust and wind that was blowing outwards from Naruto. Naruto? Kakashi thought, surprised at the power radiating of Naruto. Just what the hell is this kid? Zabuza thought, also feeling the power coming from Naruto. Naruto started walking to Gatm and his gang, still hiding her eyes. Each step Naruto made, the ground beneath her feet cracked. Her tails were dead, still pointing upwards, and her ears were flat on her head. Gatm along with his gang saw Naruto edging closer. The thugs were getting worried, but Gatm was laughing. Did something get you upset? Man, get her, it seems there is another whore up for the taking, Gatm laughed. Naruto instantly appeared in front of Gatm, scaring the shit out of him. Naruto grabbed him by the throat with her tail before throwing him behind her. Gatm landing roughly in front of Zabuza, who looked down to see Gatm slowly getting back up. Zabuza used his teeth and shredded his mask apart, showing his mouth and sharp shark-like teeth. Zabuza used his foot to stomp on Gatm's head, repeatedly making him scream with each stomp. This lasted for around a minute before his screams stopped. Zabuza took one final stomp, making Gatm's head cave in. Seeing Gatm get killed, Naruto looked back to the group of thugs right in front of her. You damn bitch, that was our meal ticket. A thug shouted. Hit here, use this and make them pay, Kurama said, giving Naruto the memory jutsu. Naruto nodded before jumping back about 5 meters. Me, Hitsuji, Ushi, Inu, I, you, Tor, Naruto said, calling out the hand seals while performing them and building up chakra in her lungs. Pain. Ein and no jutsu, Naruto called out before breathing out a blue hot flame from her mouth, reducing all the thugs to nothing, only leaving a black mark in the shape of the flame on the bridge's surface. The end of the bridge had melted due to the heat of the flame. Everyone there was amazed at the jutsu Naruto just used. Sasuke had just woken up a few minutes before, and when he regained his bearings, he saw Naruto perform the jutsu, silently thinking, when did Naruto learn to do that? Zabuza walked up to Naruto, who was still looking to where the thugs used to be, and put a hand on her shoulder. Thank you, kid. You reminded me that shinobi are also human and can't completely kill their emotions, Zabuza thanked. Naruto just turned her head to look at him with a small smile. Kakashi at this point walked by to Naruto, while Zabuza had walked over to Haku. Haku, I am sorry and thank you for everything, Zabuza said, kneeling over Haku and picking him up gently, while a few tears rolled down his face. It started snowing, which only lasted about a minute. Snow? Haku, are you crying? Zabuza asked softly, while the rest were confused and amazed by the sudden appearance of snow. I would like to bury him, Zabuza said, looking towards Kakashi. Sure, my team will clean this up, Naruto, you may go with him if it's alright with you, Kakashi replied while looking to Naruto before Zabuza. Sure, kid. I'm sure Haku would have liked that, Zabuza said while jumping off the bridge and walking the short distance to land on the incomplete side of the bridge. Burial site. Both Zabuza and Naruto sat there in silence, praying their wishes and respects for Haku for about half an hour before Zabuza spoke up. Haku was a kind and gentle kid. It pained him to fight you as he wished not to harm anyone, but show them love and compassion. He fought both for you and myself, Zabuza said softly while standing up. He fought for us? Naruto asked, a bit confused. Yes, it's the reason why your teammate still lives, Zabuza said, explaining what he means. Is what you said true about being a ninja? Naruto asked quietly. I can't speak for Konoha, but in Kiri we are not meant to pursue own ambitions, but to become the village's greatest weapon and tool, Zabuza answered. It's the same for Konoha. Each and every ninja has to live while dealing with that issue, Kakashi said appearing from behind. Naruto and Zabuza turned around to see Kakashi standing there with a neutral expression. He is right, you know, I can speak from experience, Zabuza confirmed. Is this what it means to be a true ninja? Naruto asked softly and sadly. Unfortunately yes Naruto, Kakashi answered. You know what? Fuck that. Naruto declared, to which both Zabuza and Kakashi raised an eyebrow at that. I've decided. I am going to be a ninja in my own way. Naruto said with pride and confidence. This kid, Zabuza thought while his eyes widened. Kakashi's eye also widened before doing his famous eye smile. Zabuza, what are you going to do now? Naruto asked. If it's fine, I think I will stay for a month or two to help defend the village for a while. When I've healed and rested I'll leave so I don't attract the wrong kind of attention, Zabuza asked, still not sure himself of what he is going to do now. It should be fine, right Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked, looking at Kakashi, who nodded in return. 1 week later on the bridge, thanks to Naruto and her clones, the bridge was completed within a week. They had been attacked once by a group of bandits that wanted revenge for what happened to Gaten. The group had been unlucky as Zabuza had been guarding at the time of the attack. None were spared. Naruto and Kurama were still not sure as to why Naruto lost it like she had. Naruto had told Kakashi about this, who in turn had to give her the killing speech. This calmed Naruto down a bit but was still frightened as it might happen again. What truly had Naruto worried is that her friends might end up being hurt if she did end up losing it again. Her team had reassured her that they would be fine, as no matter what became of Naruto, she wouldn't hurt any of her friends and that they would always be there. From us and the rest of the village, we thank you for freeing us from Gaten. We will be forever in your debt, Tazuna thanked. No need, we were only doing our job. If you need more help, Konoha will be more than happy to help, Kakashi replied, earning a smile from his team and Tazuna. Inari, be sure to take good care of your mother. Make sure you grow up strong and keep well, Naruto said to Inari while kneeling in front of him before pulling him into a hug, who nodded in return. Standing up and walking to stand next to her team, Naruto turned to face Inari once more. If you ever want to see all of me again, you're more than welcome to, Naruto said in a seductive voice before blowing a kiss to him and using her tails to caress her body. Inari's face went completely red before hiding behind his mother, too embarrassed to be seen. This of course made Tsunami quite curious and shot Inari a questioning look, who only answered by hiding his face behind his hat. If it weren't for Kakashi's mask, you would have seen a drop of blood running down from his nose. Sasuke and Sakura were confused by what Naruto had meant. When Sakura saw Naruto caress her body with her tails, she instantly caught on and started blushing hard. Naruto, you hintaeum, Sakura said, turning her back to the villagers, sending them off and crossing her arms, still blushing quite hard. Kakashi-sensei, I blame you, this is your fault, Sakura said in a disappointing voice, while Kakashi rubbed the back of his head and laughing awkwardly. But the last few waves and goodbyes, Team 7 headed back for Konoha. When Team 7 reached the end of the bridge, they saw Zabuza leaning against one of the support pillars. Zabuza, come to see us off? Naruto asked, happy to see him. Yeah, I am. There is something I must tell you though, Zabuza said, seriously getting Team 7's attention. I went to Haku's grave a few days ago and found that it had been disturbed. I found out that his grave was empty, Zabuza told them in a slightly angry voice. What? The Genin trio said while Naruto was clenching her fists. Don't worry about this, I will investigate this myself and will keep in touch, Zabuza said while standing up with his arms crossed. If you need anything, be sure to let us know, Kakashi said, also quite angry by this. Zabuza nodded back and disappeared with a swirl of dust and water. Seeing Zabuza leave, Team 7 started walking again back to Konoha. Hokage's office few hours later. The trip back was uneventful, and with traveling at normal ninja speeds, Team 7 returned to Konoha within a few hours. Team 7 were now standing in front of the Hokage waiting quietly while he reads over the report. I must say well done to you and your team. This will be recorded as an A-rank mission and you will be paid accordingly, the Hokage praised. Thank you, sir. I would like to speak to you in private. Naruto, you may stay if you wish, the rest you are dismissed for now. Normal meeting time tomorrow at ground 7, Kakashi said before turning to his team. You can tell me tomorrow what this was about, Naruto before walking out with her team. I'll meet you guys tomorrow then, Naruto greeted to her team before walking off alone. Sakura was about to chase after her but was stopped by Sasuke, who placed a hand on her shoulder. Sakura turned to protest but saw Sasuke shaking his head. She just needs to be alone for a short while. If you are really concerned, you can talk to her tomorrow. But for now she needs this, Sasuke said calmly, stopping Sakura from saying anything. Sakura nodded before leaving, shortly followed by Sasuke. When they left the Hokage building, they headed in separate directions. Next day, training ground 7. Hey guys, Sakura greeted, seeing Naruto and Sasuke sitting by the log posts. Sakura-chan, Naruto greeted, giving her a smile. Are you feeling better? Everything alright? Sakura said while sitting down next to Naruto. Yeah, I'm good thanks, feeling better. Thanks Sakura-chan, Naruko thanked. Sakura blushed a bit at the adding of chan to her name. Sakura placed a hand on Naruko's shoulder, giving it reassuring squeeze. Naruko turned to Sakura and gave a small smile in return. Yo, Kakashi greeted appearing from nowhere and still reading his book. Naruko and Sakura blushed hard at seeing the book again, while Sasuke had a faint blush. Do you really have to read that while you're with us Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked still blushing. Hey, a good read is a good read, Kakashi replied. Sakura mumbled something about perverted teachers being a bad role model. Are you really Kakashi-sensei? You are here on time, Naruko asked not believing this. Kakashi just gave an eye smile in return, removing all doubt as they were pretty sure no one else can do that. Kakashi-sensei, what did you speak to Gigi about? Naruko asked. Not much, just about the lack of education the academy is failing to give to certain people, Kakashi replied still reading his book. Sensei, you really didn't have to do that, Naruko said softly but very grateful for it. No, I did, but don't worry, I gave certain teachers a kind and polite talk, Kakashi said, while the genin got a shiver down their spines at the way Kakashi had said kind and polite. Naruko mentally thanked Kakashi. Normally after an A-rank mission a genin team is given a week of rest and healing, but we have already had that, Kakashi explained. So are we still going to do missions? Naruko asked not sure where Kakashi was going with this. No, you are unable to do missions for a week, but that doesn't mean we are going to sit doing nothing. For the next month you will be training every day till you pass out, Kakashi explained in a tone that made the genin gulp. Sasuke and Naruko were extremely happy that they will be driven into the ground with training while Sakura was starting to get second doubts about this. You surely don't mean till we pass out, right? Sakura asked a little scared of what is to come. Nope, you will train till you pass out. I have half a mind of making you train while still unconscious, Kakashi said with an eye smile really scaring Sakura. Right, Naruko, you go do your normal fitness and strength training, once done return back here, Kakashi told Naruko, who was about to start running off but was stopped by Kakashi. Oh Naruko, I forgot. Double all you weights, Kakashi said sweetly. But sensei, they are already at 85 kilograms apiece, Naruko whined a bit. This shocked Sakura and Sasuke greatly. They knew about Naruko's weights, but they didn't know how much they weighed. Well, add 5 kilograms, then double it, Kakashi replied. But add 10 kilograms instead, then double it, Kakashi cut Naruko off. Naruko kept quiet this time and did what Kakashi told her to do before running off. While Naruko was doing her regular fitness and strength training, the rest of Team 7 did similar training with weights included, but not as bad as Naruko had it. When Naruko returned she was really tired. 85 kilograms was already a bit much for her, but 190 kilograms apiece was ridiculous. She was going to do her training in fox form, that was until Kurama forbid her. When Naruko returned to the training ground, she saw both Sakura and Sasuke lying down on the ground, breathing heavily and covered from head to toe in sweat and dirt marks. Naruko joined them and lay down in between Sasuke and Sakura. You guys look like you have seen better days, Naruko laughed a bit at their predicament. When Kakashi-sensei gave us all that training to do, I thought he would just sit by and read his book, not join us, Sakura said, still surprised that Kakashi had joined them. Kakashi-sensei joined? Naruko asked, also surprised. Well, yes. The fight with Zabuza showed that I have softened up over the past few years, Kakashi replied from above the genin. Looking up, the genin trio saw Kakashi crouching on a branch in the tree above them. Kakashi shortly dropped from the tree while pulling out a stack of small paper. Team 7 slowly stood up and faced Kakashi, seeing him hold a stack of papers. Kakashi, what's the paper for? Please don't tell me we are doing a written test. Naruko asked, panicking slightly. Naruko, I don't think we are doing a test. Those papers are too small, Sakura replied, seeing the size of the paper not being bigger than Kakashi's palm. Naruko calmed down, happy that she won't be doing a test. Sakura is right. These pieces of paper are made from a special type of tree that is grown and fed with chakra. When exposed to the slightest hint of chakra, it will react accordingly to your chakra's latent nature, Kakashi said, while giving his team each a piece of paper. All you do is channel a bit of your chakra into the paper. If it turns to ash, it's fire, splits into its wind, wrinkle its lighting, crumble its earth, and if it becomes wet or damp, it's water, Kakashi said while channeling his chakra into the piece of paper. The page between Kakashi's fingers wrinkled while the half crumbled. Mine is lighting. Earth is a secondary for me. The more you train with other elements, the more your body becomes used to using them, Kakashi said, showing the paper to his team. Sakura went next. Her paper becomes soaked while a small part of a corner crumbled. Water is your main. Earth is second, but not all that strong, but can change with time and training, Kakashi explained, while Sakura was smiling happily. Sasuke followed Sakura and pushed his chakra into the paper. His page wrinkled while about a half of it turned to ash. Interesting. Your main is lightning and not fire like most Uchiha. Though you still have a strong affinity to fire, Kakashi explained while Sasuke smirked. Naruto went last and pushed as little chakra as she could into the page. Know what happens if she is not careful. Her page split into two, while one side wrinkled almost turning into a ball and the other half turned to ash. Now that is really interesting. Your primary element is wind, the perfect type for you. But you show strong affinity to lightning and fire. That is rather unheard of, Kakashi explained, amazed by this, while Sasuke lost his smirk, not being too happy about that. I think it might be because of my tails, it's the only reason I can think of, Naruto said, trying to think why she has three elements. It could, but it could also mean you have a Kekkei Genkai. Kakashi replied. What is that? Naruto asked. Kekkei Genkai are abilities that are passed down through genetics, so only a person of that clan can perform them. The Sharingan is a good example. Kekkei Genkai can be jutsu-based or body enhancement-based, Kakashi explained. Haku had Kekkei Genkai. By mixing water with wind he can create ice, Kakashi explained further. Naruto nodded, understanding what a Kekkei Genkai is. So I could have one, how would I find out? Naruto asked. I will tell you when you get the hang of using your elements. So for now just focus on that, Kakashi said, not wanting to get too far ahead. Naruto answered with a nod. So we now know your elemental affinities, but before we get to them you will need to increase your chakra control. Naruto, Sasuke, you already know how to use fire, so it might go quicker, Kakashi said to Naruto and Sasuke, who both smirked at that. The next chakra exercise you will be doing is water walking, using the same principle as the tree climbing, only this time you must constantly release a changing amount of chakra to stay afloat, Kakashi said while walking to the nearby river. With his team following him, Kakashi walked on water a few meters out before facing them. The Genin trio were amazed that they would be able to walk on water soon. So get to it. You may take your clothes off but keep the weights on, Kakashi said with a slight grin. Naruto and Sakura didn't like the way Kakashi had said that while Sasuke removed his, leaving him in his pair of boxers. Sakura blushed hard at seeing Sasuke like this, while Naruto had a slight blush at seeing Sasuke slowly forming muscles. Sasuke and Sakura sang out, creeping Sasuke out a bit. Now he wasn't too happy with the idea of stripping, especially with Sakura around. Kakashi-sensei, can I please get my swimming costume first? Naruto asked shortly, followed by Sakura asking if she could go as well. Kakashi nodded before Naruto and Sakura quickly ran to get their costumes. Kakashi secretly wanted to say no, but held against saying it for fear of what might happen if he did. When they returned they were still in their normal clothes. This confused Kakashi. I thought you went to get your costumes? Kakashi asked, a little disappointed. We did. We aren't going to walk around the village in them, Sakura shot back, not liking the idea of walking around the village virtual naked. Naruto and Sakura removed their clothes while leaving on their weights. Naruto and Sakura were wearing an orange and pink bikini respectively. While Sakura had a decent body for her age, still rather flat but well-toned stomach and legs. Naruto on the other hand, it didn't look like she had a 13-year-old body, more like a well-matured 17-18-year-old body. See, going on to D-cup, well-toned stomach with a six-pack showing slightly and well-toned slender legs, carved muscles showing quite nicely. While Sakura was a fair bit pale, Naruto had a